Good evening, everyone. We are warmly welcome all of you. I am Samodh Gunwardana, your host for the day. To start off with today's proceedings, I would like to invite our colleague Sajani Kaushalya to formally welcome the gathering.
Yes, Samoda. Good evening to everyone who have joined us today for the workshop on how to conduct an effective business pitching. I feel much privileged to welcome you all on behalf of the third year batch of Department of Entrepreneurship of the Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce of University of Sri Jayawardena. First and foremost, let me warmly welcome the chief guest of the day, Mr. Harinda Dhanangalage, CEO and co-founder of Vinota Network. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation and being the key resource person for the workshop. And we would like to warmly welcome you, sir, for this.
Thank you,
On
Sajani.
behalf of the Department of Entrepreneurship, I offer my sincere regards to Head of Department, Dr. Sriyani Ranasinghe, and Coordinator of the subject, Ms. Pubuduni Liyanage, for the opportunity given to us in organizing such a workshop session. As an entrepreneur, even if you have a good business idea, it will be useless if you don't know how to pitch it effectively. As well as even if you can pitch your idea effectively, it will be useless if you don't know how to market that pitch well. The shield of this. We hope this lecture open the way for successful business world. Finally, I also welcome all the participants who are joining us today for trusting us and joining the session. We hope that you all would benefit from this session and this would be fruitful this session for you all. Over to you, Samoda.
Thank you, Sajani. Let me invite our speaker to this virtual platform, Mr. Harinda Dhanangalage. He is a co-founder at Vinota Network, and he obtained his master's in entrepreneurship from University of Sri Jayawardena. And now please welcome our speaker, Mr. Harinda Dhanangalage. Dear sir, platform is yours now.
Thank you, Samoda. And thanks for Sajani also. Good evening, everyone. Today, we will be discussing on the pitching, business pitching. So before I move on, I would like to introduce myself, and I think Samoda and Sajani already gave an introduction, but let me give a little bit of introduction about my business. Actually, I'm also running a tech startup called Vinota, where we provide international calling to an international clientele. So from 2015, we have been doing this business. And during many times of my business, I mean, in different stages, I had to pitch my business to different investors. So that's how I came to the world of pitching. And today, it's a great honor to be here. And also, I would like to thanks for Department of Entrepreneurship for inviting me here. Okay, great. So let's start the today's session. Okay, now before I move further, I would like to know, because I got to know that you already have some business ideas. So I would like to know from, I think we only have about 15, 16 people here. So I think we have enough time. So I would like to know what kind of business ideas you already have, or maybe you have already started a business, or maybe you are just having an idea. So just give me an idea. I mean, just tell me what it is, so then I can get an idea about what kind of a business in your mind, and then I can customize this session according to the those businesses. Okay, so can we start immediately? So maybe can I tell the name here, or can you all just give me what business you are in? Janani?
No, sir, I didn't start yet any business, but I
Okay.
have a concept regarding obesity burn institute or center. Actually, from it, my target customer would be the people who are suffering from obesity. So in here, I mainly focus to give actually more service than gym or fitness centers provide. So I provide a diet shop and diet plan also. So and continue guide for them to reduce their obesity.
Great, good concept. Okay, next is I think some other.
I also didn't start yet my business, but
Okay.
I looking for start export business based on spices.
Okay, great. Right, and Sajani?
Yes, sir. I'm not start business
Okay.
yet, sir, but I have idea produce heritage related products.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
I can't hear, sir.
I didn't get you. Tell me again.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, now I can hear very well.
Sir, I have not starting business yet, but I have idea produce heritage related products. Heritage tea bag,
All right. Okay.
powder bag, such as.
Good. Okay, Dasani?
I didn't start my business yet, sir.
Okay.
I have this idea.
Mhm.
Cinnamon export business.
Cinnamon export. Good. Okay. Lakshan?
I didn't start business. I plan in hotel industry. It's include outdoor concept is hotel. My target customer base is tourists, business travelers, tour groups, teenagers,
You
adults.
mean something like adventure reality resort or something like that? Or
Function, outdoor function.
outdoor functions? Okay.
Yes.
Right. All right. Okay. Okay. This is Vismita, right? Vismita or Vismita?
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, I'm planning to start my own social media marketing agency.
All right. Good. So what is your target market? Is it a local or foreign client?
I'm planning to target the local, especially the startup businesses, sir.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. When you say startup business, what does it mean?
People was generally now trying to enter the market, but they are unable to do it by themselves. So they might need help with that social media marketing. So I'm planning to target them.
Right. Okay. Great. So the next is Tilochana, right? Tilochana?
Yes, Tilochana.
Yeah, Tilochana. Go ahead.
Now I started some pet related business. It's only breeding and studying and so on. But I target to do pet service. I want to expand it into pet service. I mean, pet grooming, pet training, and so.
Great, good. Kavindu? Kavindu, what is your idea? Okay, Kavindu's. Okay. Next, Vidura.
Yes, sir. My business is about photography, wedding and food photography. Currently, I'm working as a, freelancer wedding photographer and food photographer, and also these days I'm draft a marketing plan for small companies, how to market their with current prices. So this is about my.
Okay, Chamadita. Chamadita, what is your business idea? Okay, seems Chamadita also not there. Kavindu? Okay, Kavindu is already not here. Okay, then next is Nivesh Karan. Nivesh Karan, what is your business idea? Nivesh Karan? All right, okay. Advisor, right. Right. Now, let me ask you a question. Okay, what kind of growth are you expecting from your business? Say, for example, okay, at least just, I'm not asking, I cannot ask from each and every one of you. So say, so you are planning to graduate next year, right?
Yes, sir. End of next year.
Next year, good. So, so that means 2023. So say, for example, by 2028, what kind of revenue you are going to, are you planning for your business? So, well, for say example, what is your target for next 5 years? I mean, just give me a rough idea. What is the planned revenue for your business? Just a yearly revenue?
Around 3 million.
3 million rupees per year.
No, per year around 30 million. Yes.
Around 30 million. Okay. Right. Then we have the cinnamon exporters, Dasuni. What is your planned revenue after 5 years?
I haven't ideas.
Just a rough idea.
1 million per
Maybe
month.
about 1 million per month or year?
A month.
Month. Okay, so we'll take about 20 million. When you say the revenue, mostly you're asking for a yearly revenue. Huh? Vismithan, how about you? What is your target?
So around 25 to 30 million.
20 to 30 million. Okay, 25 to 30 million. Good. I'm asking like randomly. Okay, Vidura, which you are planning to do photography?
Yes, annually income.
Yep.
It's about 50 million.
About 50 million.
5 million, 5 million, sorry.
About 5 million a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. So seems like some of you have really good business ideas, and some of you have, I mean, really good planning. But remember, like, okay, the highest figure I got here, I mean, basically, like most of you are planning for about 30 million a year, right? So what if you can make 30 million a month? How do you feel? Not just 5 years time, but if you can make it like 2 to 3 years time? What do you all think? Do you like it or not?
Like it.
You like it. Okay, let me give an example from myself. When I started the Vinota, I also didn't have much of an idea. We launched in 2015, but within 2 years, we reached, within like 3 years, just before the pandemic, we reached $948,000 annual revenue. I mean, 948,000 annual revenue. That is, if you, that those days even say we dollar rate is 180. So we are talking about 170 million within a year. How do you feel it? Huh? If you, what if you can make that much of amount, 170 million a year, 200 million a year within 2 years or 3 years? Now remember that is possible, right? Why I'm saying that is possible, right? Because if you start I'm telling you frankly, right? I have done all the mistakes. I have done all the mistakes which you will do when you are doing a business. I have done everything, right? So with all the mistakes, right, we achieve almost 170 million, maybe say even more than that, I think, right? A year range, right? That means you also have the capability and capacity, because when I was doing that level, I didn't have much of an education. I think I already, I just completed the master, right? And so you have spent almost like 4 years of your life, right? And with that knowledge, right? And you maybe have developed so many different capabilities now. So with those capabilities, there is a much higher chance that you also could reach this kind of a target, right? Now, so only thing is we have to carefully, before getting to that level, you have to carefully evaluate your business, right? I think someone mentioned the name here. He's, I think, Vishmitan mentioned that he is, planning to offer his service to startup. Okay. I'm not quite happy with that answer which he gave me for about the startup. So when you say run a startup, what comes to your mind? So I will be asking, like, if you don't just answer, I will be asking from different people. So where I would like to have this kind of an interactive session. So where you probably would be able to grab from me than just conduct in a kind of a lecture. So we'll talk more, right? So the more we talk, so better you can get an understanding about the subject. Okay, Tilochana, what is your idea when I say startup? What does it come to your mind? No answer from Tilochana. Janani?
Basically, the capital, sir.
When you say a startup, what does it come to your mind?
Implementation part of business plan.
Okay. What else?
Not well established business.
Okay.
Beginning of the business.
Okay. Someone has said the business there just enters the market. Okay. How about Dasuni? Dasuni, what is your idea? When you say startup, what does it come to your mind?
Capital.
Capital. Okay. Isuri is here now. Isuri, what does it come to your mind when I say startup? What does it come to your mind, Isuri? Okay. So basically, like from what you said, is basically like what comes to your mind is a newly formed business, right? Am I correct? That's what comes to your mind, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Actually, the dictionary word for startup is correct. Yes, that's what you should get it, right? When you say startup, it's a newly formed business. But I said you that I'm running a startup, right? I have already ran business for 5 years, but still I'm saying I'm running a startup. Why is that? My business is now 5 years. We have already completed 5 years. So it's not a newly formed business. Anybody know the reason? Okay. The startup word, right, differ from the context that we use, right? It's something like the entrepreneurship, right? You know, like how Sri Lankan media use the word entrepreneur, right? They don't have any sense of, characteristic of entrepreneur. They will use the entrepreneurship everywhere, right? because they think that the entrepreneur is someone who is just conducting a business. So they have that mentality, right? So they will use the that word everywhere. So startup word also something like that, right? Most of the time you get the idea like, okay, this is a newly formed business. No, yes, you can use in some context, but there is another meaning for this word. Okay. Okay. Now this is probably, I hope you guys have seen this one. At least Kangaroo Cabs you must have seen. Probably Budget Taxi, Nano Taxi, right? This you must have seen, right? Have you seen these companies?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so these are the normal type of business, right? I mean, I have just taken this transportation industry, so which will be easy for me to explain this concept, right? If you take any other business, you will find this kind of normal businesses are there, right? Then you must have seen these companies, definitely, right? PickMe, Uber, right? So there's a different category. So how does this two type of business differ to each other? Like, what is the difference between the Kangaroo Cabs and the PickMe? What is the difference that you see? Do you see any difference between the Kangaroo Cabs and the PickMe?
PickMe use the high technology.
Okay, yes, good one. High technology, they use PickMe use high technology. What else?
International and local.
Okay, now Kangaroo Cab is also a local one, PickMe also a local one.
I mean Uber. And
Uber, yeah, of course, Uber is a local international business. Okay, what else? Okay, do you remember, like, I know, I don't know how, you're probably now in 20s, right? So I'm in 40s, right? So the Kangaroo Cab was there, I mean, for maybe last 20 years, right? But PickMe was there maybe last 5 years, right? But you know, when the PickMe came to the market, Kangaroo was a well-established player. I think they had like more than 400, or nearly about 500 fleet of their own vehicle, right? With that, then suddenly, all of a sudden, PickMe came. They also came to the market somewhere around 2015, if I'm not mistaken. So they came to the market, and suddenly, now we are in 2022, right? So suddenly they grabbed the entire market. I don't know now. I don't know anyone is using the Kangaroo anymore, right? But all of us are using the PickMe. But Kangaroo, very rarely we use Kangaroo Cabs, right? We use PickMe for you know, food delivery or transportation or whatever the thing. Everything we use PickMe now. So within a very short period of time, right? Within few years' time, they scale up to a very, I mean, very high level, right? They had a huge growth rate where Kangaroo, all those cab companies couldn't compete. They basically are not in the market anymore. I think this Budget Taxi, these Nano Taxis are not in the market anymore. What happened? PickMe came and they disrupted the market, right? So now these are the companies I call a startup. Now the PickMe is a startup, Uber is a startup, Facebook is a startup, right? Even Apple is a startup, right? Now they have come to the corporate level, but they still have this startup characteristic. Okay, so I have mentioned, I mean, there are so many different ways you can define a startup, but I have taken one definition for easy explanation. See, even the Cambridge Dictionary says a business that has just been started. So that's a startup. Yes, you can use that. But what Forbes says is startup. What Forbes says, startups are young companies founded to develop a unique product or service, bring it to market and make it irresistible and irreplaceable for customers. Right? Now you take example of the same example that we took, PickMe, right? That's a unique product, unique service, right? And they bring it to the market. Now, I mean, you cannot not use that, right? Definitely you will have to use it, right? Right? You cannot say no to it most of the time, right? I mean, you cannot, I mean, Pick.me and Uber is competing each other, but you cannot replace Pick.me with Kangaroo cabs. You cannot replace the Pick.me with Nano cabs. But you can replace Nano cab with the budget taxi. You can replace Nano cabs with Kangaroo. But these things you cannot replace, right? You put here the Apple, right? That's when they started. It's a unique product, and it's actually a unique product and service combination, right? So I mean, you know, there's no replace for Apple basically, right? And you know how the Apple users, I mean, they very hardly ship to any other platform. I haven't seen anyone who use Apple are using Android again. No, they very hardly it will happen. I haven't seen anyone, right? So these are the you know, these are some characteristic, very narrow level, right? Only very few here, right? These are some of the characteristic of a startup, right? Yeah, you have a unique product and service. Now, go back to your business idea and check whether is it your product is a unique product or service. The plan, whatever the business idea that you have is it a unique product and service, right? Can that be replaceable with something new? And is your customers will have an irresistible, you know, feeling when they are using it. So now think very carefully, right? Whether which level is your business, right? And also I have a few characteristics here. Is it, I mean, you can find so many different characteristics for startup, right? Ask the question, is it your product or service, whatever the business side, is it an innovative? I think you must have already learned about the innovative. Now, for the example of Pick.me, right? The Pick.me is, if you, you know, look at from the one perspective, Pick.me is simply a copycat of Uber, right? So the Uber was running for years in USA, so they copied that idea and they launched it locally. But we never say they're a copycat. Why? There's something called market innovation, right? Because Sri Lanka is a totally different market. So when they launch it here, that become a market innovation, right? So this is another way, right? This is another way you can grab some really cool business ideas, right? See how they're doing in other countries and grab that idea and launch it here, right? You don't have to have the original idea sometimes. If you can bring the original idea, that's good. But if you don't have idea, just copy from some other market and use it here. So then you are a market innovation, right? And as I said, this rapid growth is there, right? You see that normal businesses, right, is very hardly they can have 100% month-on-month growth. They probably have like maybe 20%, 30%, right? Or maybe 40-50% growth rate year on, but very hardly, right? Most of the business like grows like 10, right? Just take an example of a grocery stores in your city, right? Can they grow 100 on month? No, that's not possible. The most of the businesses we see in Sri Lanka, they don't have this rapid growth. They only have a very slow growth rate. Okay, so just see whether your business can have a rapid growth. When I say the rapid growth, I'm talking about like 100% month on month, maybe 50% month on month. I remember when we started the Vinota, by first few months, I mean, we could have like 5 customers, 10 customers per month, like, you know, like about 1 or 2 months. Then we get 100 customers, right? Because we were testing the products and, you know, testing the market, 100 users on a month. Then next month, like 200, 250 users. Following month, maybe 400, 500 users, then 1,000 users. Now we do, even without a single dollar, I'm getting like 20, 25 customers a day now, right? So that's the kind of growth we are talking. I know there are some apps actually, they within the launch, within 2 to 3 weeks of launch, they got millions users. There are apps like that. There are businesses like within the launch, they got so many users, right? I know one startup recently, they launched only this year, right? For last month, they made a profit of nearly $12 million. $12 million. And they hired 100 developers within a month. 100 developers within a month. Right? You can see how see the way they are growing. Right? And as I said earlier also, they are disruptive. When they come to the market, they will disrupt. Right? So they basically, other business will not exit anymore when they come to the market. So that's what Airbnb did it, right? So they came to the hospitality industry, right? So they disrupted the entire industry and they became the market leader. I mean, they don't have a single hotel room, but they are the most valued hospitality company in the world. I hope all of you have heard about the Airbnb, right? Have you heard the Airbnb? Hello, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, right. Okay, so have you heard about the Airbnb?
No, sir.
No. Okay. If you haven't heard, that's really bad. Okay. Frankly, like, anyone here who has heard about the Airbnb before?
Yes, sir.
You have heard. Good. Who else? Okay, so only one person has heard about Airbnb.
We heard about that.
You have heard about. Okay, only few people. Right, guys. Remember one thing, right? So if you are when you are in entrepreneurship, you have to develop your knowledge in so many different areas. Like, I mean, what's happening in the world, right? I mean, so say you are in the, say for example, you go to a startup conference or entrepreneurship related conference outside the country, right? So if you say you don't know the Airbnb, that's will be a real trouble. Okay, so you should know those things, right? So what's happening in the world, right? I mean, all those things happening around you, you should know, right? So the people who doesn't know what is the Airbnb, right? Please go to their website and get to know from the people who knows already about the Airbnb. Okay, and it's always a high risk, right? High risk bring the high reward, right? Because since we are scaling at a very high speed, and since most of the time since the technology is involved, right? And it's always a new idea, innovative idea. So there is a risk, but always there are ways to manage those risks, right? So these are very few characteristics of a startup, right? Now, please, after completing this session, think whether your business has this characteristic, right? If you don't have, I'm not telling that everyone should have a startup. No, I'm not telling like that. But remember, if you can start a startup, launch a startup and run that, then your growth perspective will be pretty much higher than any other businesses, right? I believe something like, we know that all of us are in a really bad economic shape, right? The entire world is talking about us. Now, if we are to, if you are to come out from this, economic hellhole, basically, right? The only way is through the startups, right? You may remember that recently Elon Musk placed a bid for Twitter. I think that's some 40 million something, right? So just imagine one man can afford 40 billion, but can our entire nation afford 40 billion? No, we don't have, we are even begging to get $10 million, $100 million. But if you look at the, current startup ecosystem, there are companies who raise 100 million, 200 million. They just get the money for 200 million, 100 million, 400 million, right? So what we need is, thriving startups where they can go and grab the entire market. They grab the world, basically. Remember, here we are talking about in Sri Lanka. I saw that most of you are planning for Sri Lankan businesses, and few of you are planning for export business. That's really good. Remember, we only have 21 million people here, right? So, I mean, what are you going to do with these 12 people? And out of this 21 million people, how many people who has at least 100,000 above income level, at least? Very few people probably, right? So, but if you go to the world, you are talking the entire world, right? I mean, look at the, per capita income of Singapore. Look at the per capita income of some other, countries like Switzerland and all. So if you can launch a product or service targeting those places, right? Imagine your, the level that you can go, right? So these are the things that, you should consider when launching. I'm not telling that everybody should know, because it's entirely depend on your risk tolerance, right? If you cannot take high risk, then and if you can't take that challenge, don't get into the startup. It's high risk, right? But again, I'm telling you, it's high reward, right? Okay, so okay, now you have got to know what is startup. Now, when we talk about, because remember that the reason that I talked about this startup, mainly in startup, because see, like if you are having a normal business, right, you can explain it to someone very easily, right? Say you are running the grocery store, you can say, okay, I have this grocery store, it's located in this town, right? You are probably not solving any specific problem, right? You are just running the grocery store, right? You can explain it to someone easily. But if you are having a startup business idea, that may not be easy to explain to someone. Then again, you can take the same concept for your existing business, but I don't think like not all the element, but some element can be used to describe your business. But if you have a plan to run a startup, probably especially if you are going for funding and all, you definitely will need to have this pitch. And I know from the previous experience, like I think this may be my 10th or 12th session on the pitching. I think I'm the one who introduced this pitching part to the University of Jawaharlal, right? Because from me, after that only, like everybody was like, it keep on going, right? So it basically I introduced there. So then I saw few previous students, they went to even international level and they got some award, right? I saw that they were participating in the pitching competition. That I'm really happy. I'm really proud about it, right? So these ideas you can, things that I discuss here, you can take to a different level, maybe even to, to pitch your idea to an investor, or pitch your idea to a award competition, or maybe even you are try to get the bank loan from your bank manager, right? You can use some of the things that you learn here. Okay. So now, if you have planned for startup, then definitely you will be needing the funding, right? I hope you have heard those things, right? For example, PickMe, if I'm not mistaken, they raised $10 million from IMF, right? And I have seen a couple of Sri Lankan startups who raise funds like that. So if you think that you also want to get in this, rapid growth business, right? Rapid growth business, definitely you will need external funding most probably, right? So why you need funding is because startups are, as I said, is high growth, right? So when you are growing fast, you cannot, hold your recruitment. Say you had, as I said, let's say you have 1,000 users today, and you have 2,000. You said you have 1,000 users this month. Next month you get 2,000 users for this product or service, right? So if that happens, probably you need to scale up your operation. Probably you need to scale up your customer support, or maybe you need to spend more on marketing, right? So whatever it is, you will need more funds, because you cannot just wait until you make enough profit and spend that on the growth. No, you cannot do that. You definitely will need this external funding and use those funds for your growth, right? In that case, most of the time you will have to give some of your equity from your organization, right, when you're funding, right, and get that fund and grow in a very high kind of a hyper growth, right? So that's how you do it in a startup. And also especially remember this, if you come up with a disruptive business idea, the moment you launch it in the market, there will be thousands, maybe hundreds of copycats, right? You may remember that it happened to Pygmy. After launching the Pygmy, and when they were running the business nicely, and everybody saw this as a really lucrative opportunity, and SLT launched it, and Orange, and so many other people start launching the same business, right? So if you don't have the capacity to grow at a very high speed, then what will happen is those competitors will come and grab your market share. So you should not let that to happen. So for you to not to let that happen, you need to have the external funding and grow, keep your growth speed same level, so nobody can catch your market. Oh, of course, another competitor like Uber or maybe Grab can come here and catch that market. That's, yes, they can do it, but not another Sri Lankan, right? Not someone without this tech startup experience can come and grab their market share. So you should not allow that, because that's your idea. You tested the market. You should, grab market before everybody else. And for that, yes, you will need funding. Right. So that is where mainly you will get this pitching part. Okay. So in my personal experience, I have done pitching in locally and internationally. And I'm really proud that I was able to get the some of the largest, basically Sri Lankan most richest person. I got his interest after seeing my pitch. So I'm really happy. So even that I learned, I'm basically watching all the online content, right? Watching so many different YouTube and creating a nice pitch deck, and practicing, keep on practicing. That's how I develop my pitching ability. Even when I pitched into the Singapore, we were selected as a top 100 startup in Asia. Where we got, I got the attention of really high-rank bankers, investors. Okay, so but actually we did a small mistake where we didn't accept funding because it was growing really nice space. But that's some small mistake I have done it in my entrepreneurship journey. Especially if you're running this startup, get the funding and scale to a totally different level. So that's my advice. Okay, so now we'll get into the pitching. So now I think up to now, you should have some sort of understanding what is the normal business and what is the startup business, and at least few characteristics of a startup business, and whether your business idea is a startup business or normal business idea. Now remember one thing here. Now these things are not taught in your curriculum, probably in that none of the textbook cover will these areas. There's a reason for that, right? Because these concepts are little bit new to the world, right? We have so many different concepts in the startup, area. Something like lean startup, growth hacking, lean canvas. So many different jargons are there, right? So many different methodologies are there. So none of these methodologies are covered in any of the university syllabus. I think probably not anywhere in the world they don't cover it. The reason is that there is no research has been done on this subject, right? So until the research done and those concepts are proven, that will not come to the university curriculum, right? But the moment it comes to university curriculum, that become a explicit knowledge, because everybody can access that knowledge. So if you have the explicit, I hope that you know these two different. Explicit knowledge is a knowledge that you can codified knowledge, right? You can easily grab that knowledge. So there's no much use of explicit knowledge, but currently these things you could call it as a tacit knowledge, where it's not in the textbook most of the time, right? So you have to grab these knowledge in a different manner, right? So how I grab this, I had a habit before the pandemic. I used to travel and attend all these startup conferences, and I learned a lot from them. And I used to read a lot on this startup related subject, right? And I used to, every day I used to read at least a couple of news items related to startup. So that way I built my knowledge. And so I'm suggesting you also, right? So don't just stay at the current level while you are doing your studies, right? See what is happening in the world, right? At least go to entrepreneurship.com and read some article, places like TechCrunch, Tech in Asia, right? Those places, visit those places regularly and see what's happening in the world and how they raise funding. You will be amazed with the level that they are raising fund. I mean, you will hear the news like, a 2 years old startup or 1 year old startup is, raising 100 million funds. So you definitely will be inspired by those stories. And also you could get some really cool business ideas where you could launch here, right? Because that will be, as I said, that will be probably a really good market innovation. So, start building your knowledge on these areas. So you already have the entrepreneurship knowledge. So if you add these startup related knowledge on top of this entrepreneurial knowledge, I believe that you will have a really great potential. Remember, you will have a really great potential. So that's what we needed this country. This is what we needed here. And say, for example, if you are planning to have a kind of a grocery store, basically traditional business, I don't think that you need the entrepreneurship. Just you need to manage it nicely. But what I'm saying is, since you already have this knowledge, gather this startup related knowledge and use that to, create high growth ventures, right? So yeah, you can go to the international level and compete with other international companies and grab market share from them, or disrupt those markets and bring the dollars. That's what this country needed, right? If you can at least have a 10,000, 20,000 startup who at least make $10,000 a month, just imagine the level that we can go. So that's what we needed. Okay. So research more and learn more. And then yes, we all can succeed as a country. Okay. So we have come to the pitching part. So we have covered the basic element, I have laid the foundation now. So we'll move into the pitching part. Okay. So I think I have already covered the importance of pitching, right? Especially remember one thing. Here, I need to mention something here. Now, I mentioned that if you run a startup, you will need to get funding. But the funding, if you are to get the funding, you probably need to go to the angel investors or venture capital firms, right? Especially in Sri Lanka, yes, there are angel investors, there are venture capital firms. Remember, these investors are really busy people, right? They probably like hearing maybe 10, 12 pitches every day. I remember one Sri Lankan angel investor, head of angel investment team said he used to listen to about 8 pitches every day. That's in Sri Lanka, right? So imagine you are a well-known investor in Singapore or USA. They probably, hearing at least, 20, 30 pitches every day, right? So it's not easy to grab their attention. So unless you have something cool and your pitch is perfect, right? So this is another reason this pitching came to the world. Just imagine that you just imagine that they have to meet, say 10 people a day, right? So if one person is spending 30 minutes to describe their business, right, they will need like 300 minutes for the to listen to them, right? Just only for the presentation time. So which is not possible. So that's why this pitching concept came, where in a very short period of time, you convey the entire message of your business within very short period of time. Basically, I did this in 3 minutes, right? So within 3 minutes, you talk about everything about your business. You give a really good picture about your business within just 3 minutes. I have heard in USA, there are some pitching is happening with 1 minute and 30 seconds. You just only have 1.5 minutes to cover up your entire business. So that's not an easy task. Remember, believe me, it's not easy, right? You will have to work a lot of areas, right? And then only you should do the pitch, because so to do that, actually you need to, because since you have a very short period of time, you cannot cover all the element in your business. So you should understand what are the most important element of your business, and you should cover those very important area. And for investor, by see in these element, they can easily grab your idea, right? So that's why we need the pitching. So you can use this concept even when you talk to bank manager, right? If you just say, okay, I'm running the social media company, and you know that I do Facebook marketing, or all those, you keep on talking, blah, 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 blah. They won't get the concept, right? So you have to talk in such a manner that within a very short period of time, you give the idea. So that won't be easy, remember. That's not easy task, right? Especially if you're running this startup. Probably I see that some of your business has that capabilities, right? So, get these ideas and use next time when you talk about the business to someone else. Okay. So in the pitching, these are the element of the pitching, right? So introduction part. There's something called elevator pitch, right? The elevator pitch is what you cover in only 30 seconds. You have only 30 seconds for the elevator pitch, not more than that, right? Basically in the elevator pitch, you say you cover these 3 H's actually, right? But the 3 H, heart, head, and handbag. That's basically what. Now, for example, how I did was, I'm talking about this in 2015. I used to ask a question from them. Okay, have you ever experienced huge roaming bill when you travel abroad? Have you experienced a huge roaming bill when you travel? Usually, if you have traveled, the roaming bills could be, devastating. Like sometimes I have friends, with, couple of days the travel, they have experienced like 30,000 rupees expenditure on the roaming, right? Because roaming calls are really expensive. This could cost you like 400. Still, there are places to call Sri Lanka, they have to spend like 400 rupees per minute, right? So I used to ask this question. So when I asked that question, I touched basically handbag, the money part, the financial part, right? And I gave a hint what I'm trying to talk about here. So they know that I'm talking about something related to code. I gave that understanding, right? Say, for example, you could ask from a parent, okay, are you feel to send your children through the normal buses, or are you feel safe to send your children by the train? Okay, are you feel safe to send your child with the Uber? You are touching the head, sorry, heart, right? You are touching the heart, because for parent, children's safety is really important, right? So you could, when you ask this kind of a question, they know that, okay, I'm going to talk about something related to the in transportation, okay, and which is related to the child. So you are given a kind of a very short period of time, you give this idea. So this is what we call elevator. Usually, if you are given a pitch, it's really good that you ask a question, because when you ask a question, that open their mind, rather than you are saying, okay, I have a solution for that problem. Or no, you can say I have a solution for high electricity consumption, or I have a solution for high electricity bill. I have a solution for lower your fuel usage. Rather than if you ask, okay, what if there is a way that you can reduce your monthly electricity bill? You ask a question, right? When you ask the question, it's open up the mind, right? Remember, guys, this pitching is actually a sales, right? If you haven't done sales, my advice is at least get a job as a sales assistant, right? While you are in the university, even a part-time one, and work sometime in sales. Because if you plan to be an entrepreneur, a sales sales skill is really important. I told you that I did the pitch in Sri Lanka and I get the attention of the richest man in Sri Lanka. How I did was basically, it was a sales pitch actually, right? For pitch, I used a lot of sales techniques. I remember there was a guy from Moroto, he's a graduate from Moroto University. He had a product. At that time, I knew only 3 companies in the world had that same product. That's an augmented reality product. They had developed it. they had developed that product, but he couldn't get the attention of the investors. But I got it. The reason is that I use those sales, related skill. So remember, if there's any opportunity, get into the sales and learn the art of selling. So when you have the art of selling, you can, is every day you are selling, basically you are selling your concept, right? You are selling your business. So, it's all sales, right? So get to know that. Okay. So here we cover the elevator pitch. Is it clear, or do I need to explain more here?
Yes, it's clear.
It's clear. Okay, good. Then the next part, what you should cover is a problem part. Now, okay, one thing to remember, since this concept is there now, right? So I very recently I came across with someone else pitch. He was running this wood related business. Okay, so he said, okay, this is my elevator pitch. So he's basically he sent me his pitch deck. So he said this is he didn't say the elevator pitch, sorry. They said this is the problem, this is the solution. So my next slide is solution, right? So he put the problem is the solution is no, you should not talk like that. I used to do that earlier. My first pitch deck was like that. This was the problem. This no, you shouldn't be talk like, just have a kind of pattern where you talk this element in a different format rather than you talking about the problem. Okay, you should not, you don't have to say this is a problem, right? You can say, you can put some other fiction or something like that and say what is the problem. So what is the problem you are solving? Remember, most of these startups are always trying to solve a problem in the existing market. Okay, even the business that you are running, okay, I will say for example, okay, export business. Are you okay? Are you trying to solve any problem? Or just thought, okay, or you just thought that export business is good and you got into the business?
I didn't. I think no.
You mean you just got into the business thinking the potential of it?
Yes, and I try to find a new market.
Okay. Now, I think Janani, the first one we talked, who has a Institute for Obesity.
Janani.
Yeah. So Janani, why did you get into this business?
Because I have a problem with actually I haven't not proper BMI, so but I don't want to go to gym as well because it doesn't facilitate most of all the service in the same time and same level. So that's why I
really good, Janani, really good, very good. This is what you should do. Now, this is how you basically get the startup idea, right? So you have a problem. The problem is that there is no existing platform to solve the overweight, which give a solution to the overweight people, right? Okay, so basically gym is covered something else, some different market actually, who wanted to build up the muscles, right? That's what our normal gyms covered, who wanted to build the muscles, but they don't target this particular area. You are actually, what you are trying to do is a really good area, right? There is a problem. Yes, there's a big problem. You are attacking that problem. Really good. Now, this is how you should, this is a problem actually. So I think you mentioned exactly what is it. So now what is the solution for that?
The solution is all the services in one place. Then you can get proper diet plan and the proper diet meal as well. Then all the other exercises, Zumba and yoga. And if you want to, you can engage with the sports as well. So all the things in one place, all the services in one place. That's the solution.
Good. Janani, so since we talk about these things, I would like to add something here. according to my knowledge, overweight can be, to reduce the weight, basically, there are 3 components needed to be matched. One is the physical exercises. Yes, you said that you are covering that one. Other one is a diet plan. Yes, you covered. One more element is there. I think you have missed that part. What is that?
Consultant service?
Sorry?
Consultancy service?
Not exactly. Yeah, you could say consultantly, but basically the mind.
Yes.
Right? So there are things which relate to the mind. So you should control that. So if you want to, if you want more details about that, talk to me. I will help you after this session. Right? Anytime, call me. Because especially in that NLP, there's something called neuro-linguistic programming. Actually, I have really passion on that area, so that's why I know those subjects. Right? I have done the psychology and counseling, and also I'm a practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming. So I have covered those areas. So there are techniques in NLP where they will help the overweight people just using the mind techniques. They will basically reduce the weight. I have done it for few people, right? Without doing anything, I have basically reduced their weight, just using some mind techniques. So if you combine all these 3 together, you will have a great result, right? I haven't seen any place in Sri Lanka who tackle all these 3 together. Now, and also the solution. Say for example, now you were able to come up with some really cool solution for this one, as I said, which covers the physical part, dietary plan part, and the mind part. So if you bring up with some unique concept here, right? I have seen that innovation is happening in the exercise also. I mean, you can have a totally different kind of exercising system, right? So if you come up with something, you probably could take that into the international market, right? Say for example, Zumba, right? So the Zumba was originated in some country. Now it's everywhere. The Zumba certification, certified people are there, right? So those trainers, they have to pay for that institute. There are so many different areas I have seen like that. Okay, so you could have something like that. Okay, so now this is really good example for a startup. Okay, if you remember, generally, if you run this as a startup, so see, you have a startup idea. Remember, when you have a startup idea, you should run it as a startup, right? So if you run that as a startup only, you can scale to a great height. Otherwise, it will be stuck in some level. Okay, so remember, so learn all the elements which I said here related to the startup, and use those concepts to grow your business. You have the really good business idea, and do some really good evaluation also. When you have the idea, you should do the evaluation of your business idea. So there are so many different evaluation methods. So use those, and then you could hit those big numbers I said earlier, maybe few $1 million range. Okay. Okay. So the next one, we talk about the solution here. You have a problem, then you have to have a solution for your problem. So we already covered that part, because now Janani's solution is that. Vishmithan, are you trying to tackle any problem, Vishmithan? In your social media?
So I see now with social media now, apps such as TikToks and Instagram are becoming more and more popular, especially among the youth. So, but I see several businesses still targeting Facebook mainly as the promotional method. So now only businesses are starting to move towards TikTok and Instagram, especially the starting businesses who are targeting the youth, especially in the younger generation. Now only they're starting to move towards the TikTok platforms. And I see
so that's the problem, right? That's the problem. Okay, so that's the problem. So what is your solution for that problem?
So I want to help them out, because everyone will not have the time or the necessary resources themselves to do it by themselves. So they might need expertise in that field. So I think I'll be able to provide with them that.
That's the need. So what is your solution? I'm telling you, what is your solution? Are you going to create another digital platform for that? Or are you going to create the team of expertise for that? So what is your solution?
So I'm planning to create the team of expertise, and based on their requirements, I will plan the content and popularize them on behalf of the business.
Very good, good. See, there's a problem in the market, so you're offering a solution. Remember, guys, always right. Don't go into don't start a business just because you can make money actually. Right? Always find a problem, right? Then find a solution. And remember, remember to find the big problems. The bigger the problem, you can offer a nice solution and you can make bigger money. Right? There may be problems that only very few people are having. That problem is having by very few people. So for such a problem, your solution, even though you offered a solution, you cannot scale basically. See how the problem that solved by the Uber, right? There was a problem. There was a serious problem with the existing taxis, which was very high costly. And especially most of the countries, like you cannot trust these taxi drivers. You get in, it's like a really dangerous situation, right? Some taxis are not registered and there's no way to track your journey, right? So many issues were there. So they basically tackle all these things with Uber, right? Even you can share your ride. Right? You basically feel safe, right? Especially when you go to other countries, they basically robbing you, right? The taxis are so expensive. So with Uber, that was solved. Right? So, and it was a really big problem. It was a problem that, all over the world, that problem was there. So they tackle it. They offered a nice solution for that one. See the level that they have reached now. Okay. So, Vishmithan, remember, it's not only, always remember, Vishmithan, is not only the Sri Lankan now facing this trouble. Okay, you should remember, yes, Sri Lankan people are facing this trouble. So if Sri Lankan people are facing this trouble, remember probably the small business in Singapore are facing this trouble, right? Or small business in Australia also may be facing this trouble. So don't limit your business to Sri Lanka and take that abroad. And also, say in textbook, what we discuss, okay, you should immediately, test your product and service in the local market, then you get it. Oh, yes, you can do that, but it doesn't work always like that. You should sometimes there are some product and solution. You should not even touch it here. I did it basically. We just did few tests here. I feel no, there's no way that I can grow with the Sri Lankan. I tried basically Sri Lanka to tackle Sri Lanka. No, that was so expensive. Our people are not sharing those things. So I basically targeted the Indians actually. Right? So think out of the box and think for different market. So you are tackling a really nice problem, Vishmithan. That's I think I read an article yesterday also. All the young people are into the. I read it today actually. Right, all the young people are into the TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and all those things, but they are moving away from the Facebook. You are correct. I'm really agree with you. Yes, you are correct. But don't try to be only here, and especially you will find, sometime to convince our people, you will need so much of effort. Maybe from the same amount of time, you can get maybe 10 customers from some other country. Right? The time that our people to make a decision on these areas is very high. It's so hard to convince them. So maybe try for for some foreign clients. So don't wait. As soon as you complete your degree, start this business. And yes, I remember, I'm greatly believe that you should not be stuck at the 25-30 million revenue level. If you run this business as a startup business, I'm definitely sure you should be able to reach at least 20-30 million within 2 to 3 years time. That's my assumption, but I think you can even reach below that, before that level. Within 1 to 2 years time, you should be able to reach this level if you target the correct businesses. Okay. So that is useful. So I hope that you get an idea what is the problem mean and what is the solution. Okay, so what is the solution to the given problem? Okay, so now here we talk about the product. Okay, so I'll show you some example here, a description about your product. Now we will take the example of Janani, Janani. So we'll take the example of Janani. Now, okay, now Janani had the problem. Janani had the solution. Now, what will be the Janani's product? So Janani's product will be probably an institute or kind of a center, isn't it that, Janani? So it will be kind of a center, right?
Yes.
Yes, there will be a center where people come and get the advice and do the exercise. So all those the things related to the reducing the weight, they can come to a center and they can reduce their weight. Okay, so that's so you should describe what kind of so you describe the problem, you describe the solution, then you describe the product. Now this is one example. This is actually Singapore product, right? So you can search online for this Rotimatic. Okay, so you will find some nice videos on the Rotimatic. Actually, this was a problem faced by an Indian lady who was working in Singapore. Their main meal is roti, right? So she has to make roti every day. I remember, like, she was a software engineer. So every day she has to come home and make roti. So she had so much of trouble. So the final result is she had a problem. Her solution was this. So this is her product finally. Actually, this was selling for, I think, $1,000+, about $1,400 or something. At their launch, even they completed their product. Even the first batch, they had the orders for, they had a few, I mean, people pre-booked for their product. So before that hit the market, they had pre-orders. So that's the beauty, like when you are tackling the real life problem. This is another success story. These are really good startup stories. Scotty Potty, this is a USA product where the people who have constipation issues. This was actually this entrepreneur's mother has that issue, and this is a simple tool that he developed for that. And from this such thing, their revenue was, they made like a revenue of, I think, 12 or 15 million a year just from this plastic stool. Okay, so these are really good user cases. So search for those things and you will learn a lot of things from these things, right? So basically in this stage, you are describing your product. So you can have nice photos of your product or some screenshot if it's a software product. Say, for example, Vismithan, you can have, say, if you have a kind of a dashboard to monitor the performance, right? You can have those here, right? Or maybe, if you have maybe mobile app or something like that, you can show that here, okay? And for other people, say, yeah, these are basically, I found the two startup one. Yes. Right. So you should cover the product part here. Okay. Then you should talk about your target market and the market opportunity. Okay. Who is your ideal customer and how many of them are there? Okay. So we'll take the example of Vishmithan. Vishmithan said, startup business. You can say, okay, that's okay to use that word. Okay. Even Vishmithan, what I feel is that not only the startup business, right? Even the traditional business has that issue, isn't it? They are mainly targeting the Facebook, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Most of the traditional businesses are still targeting the Facebook. So now only they're gradually starting to move towards Instagram and TikTok.
Okay. So why do you say that you are targeting the startup businesses? But what is the reason for you to target the startup businesses?
I feel the businesses who are starting recently, they are aware that they should be moving towards these platforms like TikTok and Instagram.
Now remember,
they are aware because that is the
Vishmita, now here we say I'm your investor, right? Say you are pitching to me, okay? So you should never say that I believe, because I'm asking a question related to the quantities. I'm asking a question related to the numbers. So you don't say because you believe that there is a market there. This is where you should talk about the numbers. So do you think how much of money these startup businesses are spending in Sri Lanka for digital advertising? Do you have those numbers? You have any ideas, Nishmitan, here about the numbers?
No, sir, I don't have any idea.
Now these are the things that you should consider. Now here, especially when in this section of your pitching, you should talk about the target market with the numbers actually, right? You know what I think is, I mean, now this is the area where you probably should do a research or market survey, okay, and identify whether these startup businesses are spending money on digital marketing first. So if they are not spending the money on digital marketing, then you are basically wasting your effort. So you should, I mean, do some whatever, I mean, first start with the secondary sources, right? Get whatever the data that you can gather around, okay, and see whether you can find any data related to the current spending pattern of the advertising for the small businesses. I don't think Sri Lankan small businesses are, I'm not quite sure. Maybe they are spending, maybe probably like people like restaurant and all. Yes, they may be spending, but get the numbers. Okay. There may be one place for you to get these numbers. If there's no place, do a market survey, at least maybe 1,000 customers, right? Then you can talk, yeah, you can give those numbers to investors one day. You can say, okay, here, look, I have done a research survey on the 1,000 customers, they are spending this much. And remember, when you go there, say they are spending only 50,000 a month. Right? They are only entire budget is only average 50,000 a month. So even you get 1,000 customers, you are not going to, because you cannot grab the entire money out of them, right? You are going to maybe 5% or 10% out of them. So that may be not enough to reach your target probably. Okay, so that's why I'm suggesting you do some kind of analysis here. You have to do really thorough analysis in this area to identify your target market and the opportunity, right? So your ideal customers, so according to what you said, your ideal customers is startup business, but I'm not quite sure whether that is correct. So if you think yes, still they are the correct market, then back that with the numbers. Always your decision should be backed up with the numbers, because investors or bankers, whoever you are going to pitch, they love the numbers, right? Okay, and never give a false information. Nah? Always, if you are saying this is the number, okay, these people are spending this much, have the numbers and have the sources, right? Always say you are going for a pitching competition, even you are going for investor pitch, and keep a file where you got these numbers. You said, okay, if they ask a question, this is where I got this number. So then they will check the reliability of the sources. At least that they know that you are not lying. Maybe that numbers are incorrect, but as they know that you are not lying. Okay, so you have to be very careful here. Talk with the numbers. The more you use the numbers, they know that you have researched really well on your business idea or about your businesses. They love the numbers. Okay, never go without the numbers today. Okay, so that's why I say how many of them are there. So you could say that if you know how many startup businesses are in Sri Lanka, you can say, okay, my initial is, startup businesses who have this much of a revenue. Okay, and I'm good. There's more than 100,000 businesses are here, so I'm going to target them. Okay, so if that number is not enough, say you plan for India, you plan for some other country. I have seen some really cool success stories in Sri Lanka. I think there's one company called Surge Global, if I'm not mistaken. They are doing a really great level now. Digital marketing is a really good business, and especially the Sri Lankan. This is what I heard from the market. We have one of the best creative people in Sri Lanka. I have seen that most of the Singapore advertisements really sucks actually. Sometimes you cannot watch a Singapore TV. Their advertisement was so boring. But sometimes when you are in Sri Lanka, you love to watch the advertisement than the teledrama, because our advertisements are so creative. So we have that creativity. So you can use, you can take that creativity and market this in some other countries most probably. Many people are doing that already. Okay, so whatever it is, find those numbers before you get into a picture. Okay, then we come to some other really important area called revenue modeling. Now, do you know how? Okay, you all have heard about Viber, right? So how does Viber makes money? You can talk or you can put into the chat. How does Viber makes money? Saroshi, how does Viber makes money? Saroshi is here. Samudita? No idea? Dasuni, how does the Viber makes money?
I don't know, sir.
You don't know, okay. You know what is Viber is, right?
Yes, sir. I know.
Lakshan, any idea? No?
No idea, sir.
No idea. Kavidu, any idea?
So they do sponsorships, I think.
Sponsorship?
Yeah, Rakuten.
Not exactly.
For, football clubs.
Okay, maybe they are doing that, but
Yeah.
where the biggest of their revenue comes.
Don't
Okay,
know exactly, sir.
Okay, right. Okay, we'll take the. So what does it Viber do? Viber is simply calling services. Okay, so where they bypass the existing mobile operators, they have a system to, they have created a system where without using a traditional mode of communication, you can make a call from one app to another app. So they are offering a call services. Now, if you are in a traditional business, what you should do is you should charge for your service. Am I correct? Because you are providing the service of call. Okay, you should charge for that call. Say in Sri Lanka, if say for example, from dialogue to dialogue, if you are paying ₹2 a minute, maybe Viber could have said, okay, why are you making $2? ₹2? We will give for that for 20 cents. Right? Maybe they could say something like that. They could have charged that. Okay, or for international calls, say if you are living in Australia and you wanted to call Sri Lankan number, it will cost you like almost like ₹50 now. That's because its cost is like 0.14, about 14 cents dollars. So that's about like ₹50, for example. Okay, but Viber could have said, no, if you are in Australia, if you want to call through Viber, we are going to charge you only ₹10. Right? That is still a great saving, right? But did they say that? No, they never said that we are going to charge. They said you are free. They launched the service and it's entirely free. Right? They ran the business like that for years without charging anything from the user. Still, they don't charge. But how are they making the revenue there? Actually, if they come to me, say if I have enough money to invest on them, if they come to me and explain their business model, maybe I also will say no to them, because they actually made money out of the stickers. Biggest revenue to Viber comes from stickers. Okay, so if they said this concept 10 years back, and explain to all these telecommunication company, look here, we are going to create the calling services and we are going to make money from selling stickers, people will definitely laugh at it. I'm sure everybody will laugh. But see what happened today. Wi-Fi is valued much higher than most of the, many of the telecom companies. They don't have those very expensive equipment, telecommunication using telecommunication companies. They don't have any towers. They just create the mobile app. So using that, they provide the services and they charge for stickers. So this is their revenue model. That also innovative revenue model. See, now take the example of Google. Initially, Google was a search. What Google does is initially their offering was a search engine. So if you are offering a search function, they could have charged for search. But did they charge for search? Have you ever paid for search on Google? No, you never paid. But instead of that, they showed us advertisement and they charged that from the advertisers. Same thing for Gmail. So they could have charged for Gmail. Okay, but they never charge for Gmail using the Gmail. They offered the even free storage. And they said they showed the advertisement on the Gmail also. And slowly, when we are moving, now they say you have the like 10 GB of storage. The other than that, you pay now the extra one. Now I'm already paying. I started already paying 2 years back. I'm paying for them. So just imagine now how many customers are there in the world paying for the extra GBs. So that's how they made it. So the revenue models is totally different from your actual businesses. So if you come up with the innovative business idea, okay, remember how, have a plan. How are you going to, what will be your revenue model? How are you making money? You are not going to give your service for free. Okay, like we'll take this, your example of Janani Center, right? So Janani Center, I mean, you could probably charge for each yoga session or Zumba session, or you could have a kind of membership model where you don't charge anything for this session. They can come and go anytime, but you can charge yearly subscription fee, maybe say, I don't know, like 20,000 or 30,000 or whatever it is, right? After you can decide that one. So you can charge for that one. Or you can say, I'm completely free. Everything is free. But you will have to buy this particular, diet plan or whatever it is. You could say something like that. Okay. So, think innovatively, right? They think creatively and come up with some innovative revenue model. It's not, you shouldn't charge for the exact service that you're offering, right? So these are totally different concepts. So think more and think creatively and come up with a different revenue model. So there's a lot of innovation happening in this area. So, I mean, you could search more and you can learn more on this area because revenue model is something really important area. So, study more in depth in these areas. Then we mentioned the traction and validation roadmap. Anyone have heard this traction word previously? Anyone here? Just raise your hand or put it to the chat if you have heard this word. Okay. Again, I have to really emphasize you guys. These are startup related jargons. Okay, you should know this word by now. So if you don't know this word, you are in a really little bit of a trouble already. So that's why I'm suggesting you read outside article. I mean, read international article, read more and more books on this subject, and learn this concept. You have to grab this concept because remember, you are going to a world, startup world, entrepreneurship world is a rapidly changing world. It's not a subject like accounting. Most of the theories and practices are same all the time. No, entrepreneurship is not something like that, right? It's a really dynamic area. So many things are happening there. So traction is basically to validate your concept. Basically, we mentioned something called product market fit. I hope you have heard that, say your product is fitting to that particular market. Okay, so you should have some numbers to show here. In a case like so any proof you have that validate your solution work to solve the problem, or if there's any early advertising. So here, say for Uber, for example, say pick me, they can say you. So basically, this traction comes when you started and to a certain level, right? Or before starting also, there are ways you can get the traction. I will mention that later. So for example, Uber, you can say how many drivers are there, right? Okay, or else you can mention how many new drivers are joining every day, average. How many new customers are joining? So that will be your traction. And how many travels, how many number of travels per day? Okay, how many kilometers per day? Or total revenue per day, or per a month, or for a year. So these are the this we call attraction. Say you run in web-related business, you could say number of visitors. So say Vishmitan's example, number of new customers sign up each month. Okay, the revenue generated, different number of advertising campaign that they ran. So this could be your numbers. And say the Janani's example, even you can say at your early stage, say you have a website, for them to sign up. Okay, you can say, okay, I have got 1,000 sign up. I have got 10,000 sign up, which I'm planning to out of that 10,000 sign up, I'm planning to 10% of that will be my real customers. I'm planning to convert them to sales. So even that sign-ups is your numbers. That's validation. And same time, you can mention your roadmap. Okay, what's your plan, future plan? Okay, how many? So Janani said, I'm sorry, I took these two examples. That's easy for me, right? So for you also, it will be easy to grab that idea. So in Janani's example, you could say, I'm planning to open my first center in, say, Nugegoda. Then I will be planning to, my plan is to have these particular activities there. So my next center, I'm planning to have it in Kiribati or Kadavata, right? So likewise, you say, okay, you're planning to have 10 centers all around the country. Then you can say, my plan is to go to this particular country and launch in maybe Singapore, maybe Dubai, or wherever, right? This is your roadmap. So in this part of your pitch, you should mention traction, which are the numbers, and traction and validation. That means to validate your solution, right? Any numbers and any future plan. So these are the areas that you should be discussing here. Then you should mention about the team. Remember here, right? You will be fresh graduate. Okay, so for fresh graduate, you don't have what we call a domain experience. Take the example of Smithon. Okay, so you probably, since it's a social media thing, yes, you probably have the experience. You can even when you start, you can say, okay, I have done so much of project. You can get experience. But Janani's case, it may be hard because you don't have any industry experience. Maybe what you could do is you can say you have someone from the industry, say maybe dietitians or another doctor who are already helping on this kind of people are on your board. Maybe you can take them as I mean, team member, I mean, like a partner, or you can keep them as advisors. In my case, actually, I was the founder of Pinota, but since I don't have, I had the technical know-how, I invited someone with really high technical knowledge because I'm running a really high-tech business. So I invited him to join the, team as my business partner, and I offered him the equity. So this is something you can do. If you don't have the experience, or if you don't have the knowledge to run that business, yes, you can get someone as a partner, as an employer, as an advisor. So many different ways are there. Right? So with that, you're building the team, because remember that you can run a business alone, but you are not going to scale to a greater level. If you are planning to scale your business to totally different level, then yes, you need to have a really good team. Especially in the venture capital firms, they look for one of the main criteria is that they look for team. For the team, like they look for, especially they looking for some teams with a really good experience in that particular area. Okay, so this is not a must actually, but it's better to have someone from the industry. Say for example, if you are launching a financial related application, and there are someone in your team probably like 5 years in HSBC experience, that will add the value to your team. Right? Say if you are launching a startup in say shipping and logistics, something like that, and having a person from probably DHL or Aramex with a few years of experience will add the value to experience, add value to your team. Okay, so remember, you have 3 ways to get the team members: as an employee, partner, or advisor. Try whatever the method and get people on board. Maybe you don't have enough money to hire them, but you can talk to them, and if they are willing to help you, you can mention them here and say, once I get the funding, they are ready to leave the job and come. That happens sometimes. So they are already working with you in a part-time basis, right? But they will come on board as soon as you get funding. This kind of things are happening in the market. So that's perfectly all right. Okay. So now the few more things that you should mention in the pitching, especially if you are planning to get funding, you should mention how much of funding you need and what is the equity that you offer. Also, you should mention the exit plan for the investor. See, these investors come to a startup not to get the, mainly this venture capital investor, they don't get the profit out of your profits. You are making a profit from your business. They don't expect you to make profit and get the monthly profit from their investment. They basically trying to exit. So there are few ways that they can exit, either through a merger, acquisition, or IPO. I hope you know these terms, right? Say you create some freight forwarding business. So say DHL come and acquire you. So they paid you $100 million, they can acquire you. So if you are valued that level, they will pay you $100 million and acquire you. So that is possible. So then what will happen is, so they valued your business at 10 million. So you had, when you start the business, you have got the investment from someone and you have given them a 10% of the equity from your firm. So they will get out of that 100 million, they will get the 10 million. So that's maybe they invested only $100,000. So, but their return is now 10 million. This kind of things are happening. Or when you go to the IPO, they can, cash out the money that they basically invested on you. Most of the time, these investors expect like 5x to 10x return. So at least they expect within few years to 5x or 10x return. Some cases are there, investors make 100x, 200x like that. And also there are new innovative method where you can raise fund like IDO, like ICO's initial coin offerings. So if you have something, some expertise in the cryptocurrency areas, there are possibilities where your ideas can you can combine some blockchain functionalities there. If it is possible, right? If it is possible, if the blockchain also can be adapted there, yes, you can combine that and you can raise the money from blockchain communities. These things are there. And few other areas that you can speak is about the competition. Sorry. Like if you have the competitors, you can have something like a competitor matrix where you can, draw one axis for say quality and axis for the price. You can place where you are placing comparing to your competitors. So these things you can mention your pitch deck, right? And this depend on your need, okay? And if you ever to plan to have a pitch, this is, I'm telling you frankly, this information is not enough. I have just covered only 2 hours. This is not enough. Go to web and listen to at least 20 pitching sessions. There, if you go to YouTube, you will see so many pitching sessions. Especially there's something called demo days pitching. So go to those demo days pitching. Demo days pitching are basically when the startup get into an accelerator or basically accelerator program. When they complete that accelerator program, they will have a demo day, something called demo day. So listen to those pitches and get an idea. Also, go through pitch deck of Airbnb, Uber. Those pitches are readily available on the internet. Right, the moment you search, it will be there. All the PowerPoint presentation are there. So go through all of them, understand the concept, and see how different teams have pitched and how they have created the pitch deck. Pitch deck is a presentation that we made with this old element. Okay, so we research those areas and get a better understanding of the things happening around you, and don't try to memorize the things. Just don't try to repeat the words. Don't do that. Okay, always have just practice whatever the times that you can possible, whatever the time that is possible. Practice and then be confident with that your presentation, your pitch. So that way, you can probably create a really nice pitch. So definitely, if you are ever planning to get the funding, and if you are even to get the bank loan, so what you should talk and what you shouldn't talk. So that will add a really great value to your pitch. And also remember, at the end of any pitching session, you will have a question and answer time. So that is where you should be really careful. So I told you at the beginning of this presentation, you are basically selling. You should develop your sales skill. Let me give you one example. I told you at the one of Sri Lankan pitching session, we had someone from Monmouth University who was doing the augmented reality. The reason that guy didn't get any funding, because investors asked a question and he got into an argument with investors. Okay, so they got into the argument. That was it. Never get into argument with the panel of judges. So sometimes I have come across this. I have come across some stupid judges, actually, not the startup, some other competitions. They ask some really stupid questions, right? So you really get annoyed and you really get angry. And I have come across judges which I should be judging them, not they should be judging me. I have come across a situation like this. I'm not boasting that, but that happens sometimes because their knowledge is very much low compared to your knowledge. I have come across this situation like that. So, but still you should keep your patience, right? You should answer their question nicely. So that's what I said, you should practice sales, because in sales, we have something called objection handling. In objection handling, we never say, no, you can't do that. Say they come up with some argument, but we say, yes, but. We call this a yes, but theory. Yes, I agree with your point, but these, according to the numbers, this shows that it should be like that. So you basically, remember here, this is a psychological game, right? So you should not let their mood to get into the angry mood or negligence mood. Don't let that to happen. It's your duty to keep them, engaged, keep them, motivated throughout your pitch, because you only have probably like 3 minutes for your pitch and another 2 minutes or 3 minutes for Q&A. So that's it. So during this small period of time, you should grab their attention, answer all the questions, and get the confidence from them that you are someone, they should be continue the conversation. So to do that, you should have the numbers and you should know how to handle this objection. So be very careful. You may be having one of the best product in the world, but if you cannot handle the objection, if you cannot present yourself, you are not going to get the investment. So all you need to do is do practices, grab, get data and numbers as much as possible, and then you are ready. I mean, basically, it's a matter of, giving the nice person. I remember when I was flying to Singapore to give the echelon pitch, I practiced throughout my flight. Throughout that, about 4 hours flight. During that time also, I keep on practicing the pitch. I ran mentally, I ran the different scenarios. That's the secret of being the nice pitch. Okay, so with that, I have covered the basic element, and I have given for you to get the sources where you can get additional knowledge. And I saw a few questions I couldn't answer. So anyway, so you said that, can you repeat the names? So which one you are talking? In the Q&A, Nivesh Karan, you asked a name. What is that? Nivesh Karan has left the meeting already?
Yes, sir, I think he is not in the session.
Okay, all right, okay. So any other question? Is it all the areas is clear to you, or if there's any area that is not clear, even I would like to repeat it. Is it clear? Okay, any question?
All clear.
Okay.
I think all clear. I have a small question. Can I say it in Sinhala?
Yes, this question is සම්බන්ධ කතා කරලා සිටිනවා.
Alright. දැන් පිච් එකක් කරලා අපි ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් එකක් බලාපොරොත්තු වුණාට පස්සේ අපිට අපේ එක්විටි එකෙන් දෙන්න වෙනවනේ කොටසක් 10%ක් හෝ 15%. එතකොට සමහරක් වෙලාවට මම දැකලා තියෙනවා ෂාක් ටැංක් එකේ එහෙම ඒගොල්ලෝ ෂාක්ස්ලා හින්දාත් ලොකු ගාණක් ඒගොල්ලෝ ගන්නවා මේ එකේ ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරනවා. එතකොට සර් අපිට ලෝන් එකකට ගිහිල්ලා අපේ ඉක්විටි එක දෙන්න නැතුව අපිට ඒ මුදලම සමහරක් වෙලාවට ගන්න පුළුවන් අවස්ථාව තියෙද්දි මොකද ඇයි අපි පිච් එකකට යන්නේ? මොකද පිච් එකේ තියෙන වාසිය ලෝන් එකට යන්නේ නැතුව යන්නේ?
ඒක මෙහෙමයි. දැන් අපිට අපි ඇත්තටම සමෝද නේද? සමෝද normal business එක run කරනකොට ඔයාට loan එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. හරිද? හැබැයි අපි හිතමුකෝ අපි දැන් කතා කරේ අපි කවුද ජනනිගේ business එක කියලා. ඔය business එක මේ සමෝද අපි මොන level එකකින් කිව්වත් ගිහිල්ලා බැංකුවට ඕක පිළිගන්නේ. මොකද ඒගොල්ලන්ට හැම වෙලේම proven concept එකක්. දැන් අපි ඕක ගිහිල්ලා කිව්වනම් අපිට දෙන්න කියලා මේ අපි මේ සුපර් මාකට් එකක් පටන් ගන්නවා. අන්න හවල් ටවුන් එකේ හවල් ලොකේෂන් එකේ තමයි මම පටන් ගන්නවා. රයිට් ඒගොල්ලෝ හරි අපි දෙන්නම් කියලා. මොකද ඒගොල්ලන්ට මම ෆාමසි එක පටන් ගන්නකොට ඒකට දෙන්න. හැබැයි මේක ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මේකට අහු වෙන එකක් නෙමෙයි. හරිද? එතකොට හරිය අමාරුයි ඒක තේරුම් ගන්න ඒගොල්ලන්ට. එතකොට ඒ වගේ කොට දෙනවා හරිම අඩුයි. ඊට පස්සේ අපි තුමු ඒගොල්ලෝ තේරුම් ගත්තා කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ දැන් මෙහෙමයි ඔයා කැමතිම නැත්තම් ෆන්ඩින් මේ ඉක්විටි එක දෙන්න ඒක කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඒක ඔයාගේ කැමැත්ත. හැබැයි අපිට ඔතන මේ තව අපි දෙයක් කතා කරනවා මේ එකට කියන්නේ අපි කියන්නේ මේ ස්මාර්ට් මනි. කියන්නේ මනි අපි කියනවා මනි ಜಾති දෙකක් තියෙනවා. සල්ලි ಜಾති දෙකක් තියෙනවා. normal money, smart money. දැන් අපිට ගිහිල්ලා අපේ බිස්නස් එක ගන්නකොට රයිට් අපි හිතමුකෝ අපේ මාමා කෙනෙක් කරන ඇන්දෙක් ඉන්නවා කෝටිපතියෙක් ඉන්නවා. මට ගිහිල්ලා මාමා මම බිස්නස් එක පටන් ගන්න ඕනේ. මට සල්ලි ටිකක් ඕනේ. මට ලක්ෂ 50ක් දෙන්න පුළුවන් කියලා ඉල්ල ගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි මාමා කරන්නේ සුපර් මාකට් එක රන් කරන්නේ මහරගම ටවුන් එකේ. මාමා දන්නේ නැහැ මගේ බිස්නස් එක මෙලෝදියක්. හරි පුතේ උඹ බියුන් වෙන නම් මටත් හන්තු වශයෙන් මෙන්න උඹට ලක්ෂ 50 උඹ බිස්නස් එක කළා මට මොකක් කවදාද පුළුවන් දවසක දීපන් කියලා මාමා දෙනවා. දැන් ඔය සල්ලි ටික ගත්තා කියලා ඔය සල්ලි ටික ලෝන් එක එක වගේම තමයි. ඔතනින් එහාට ඔය සල්ලි ටික හම්බුණා ඉච්චර අපිට හම්බ වෙන්නේ. හැබැයි අපි ඒන්ජල් ඉන්වෙස්ටර් කෙනෙක්ද. ඒන්ජල් ඉන්වෙස්ටර් කෙනෙක් කියන්නේ හැම වෙලාවෙම මේට ඉස්සෙල්ලා මේ වගේම ස්ටාර්ට්අප් බිස්නස් එකක් එක්ක එයා රන් කරලා එයා උඩට ආපු කෙනෙක්. එහෙම නැත්නම් එයා අපි වගේ තව ගොඩක් අයට දෙනවා. අන්න ඒ කෙනාගෙන් සල්ලි ගත්තොත් අපි එයත් අපිට දෙන සමහරට මාව ලක්ෂ 50ක් දෙන්න කිය අර කියන්නේ මම ලක්ෂ 40ක් දෙන්න මට ඕනේ 115 ඉක්විටි එකක් කියලා. මාව මොකුත් නෑ ලක්ෂ 50ක් දෙන්න. ඇත්තටම මට දැන් එහෙම දෙයක් වුණොත් මම මාමට කියනවා අනේ මාමගේ සල්ලි මට එපා. මං අර මහත්තයෙන් ගන්නම් සල්ලි ටික කියලා මං එයාගේ සල්ලි ටික අරගෙන එයත් එක්ක යනවා ගමන. ඒකට හේතුව තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ අපි මේ ස්ටාර්ට්අප් එකක් කියන්නේ හැම වෙලාවෙම අපි කියන්නේ අන්ට්‍රැවල් පාත් එකක්. මේ පාත් එකේ අපි ගිහිල්ලා නෑ අපි දන්නේ නෑ මේකේ මොනව වෙනවද කියලා. දැන් අපි හන්දියේ කඩේ ගිහිල්ලා අපි ග්‍රොසරියක් පටන් ගන්නවා නම් අපිට ග්‍රොසරිස් දාපු 100ක් ඉන්න හොයාගන්න. ওই 100ත් එක්කම කතා කරලා අපි දන්නා මොනවද වෙන ප්‍රශ්න ටික කියලා. ඔයා ගිහිල්ලා ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට් බිස්නස් එකක් පටන් ගන්නකො ඔයාගේ යාළුවෝ ටික ඔක්කොම කියයි. ඔයාට ගිහිල්ලා 122කට බස් එකක් දාන්න ඕනේ කියපුවා. ඔයාට ඕන තරම් බස් කරන කට්ටිය හොයන්න පුළුවන්. ඒගොල්ලෝ කියයි මේක කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. හැබැයි මේ ස්ටාර්ට්අප් එක කවදාකවත් එහෙම කෙනෙක් ඔයාට හම්බ වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එකම බිස්නස් එක දෙන්නේ පටන් ගත්තව ගමන් දෙකක් එහෙම තියෙනවා. වෙන්නම විදිහේ ප්‍රොබ්ලම්ස් ටිකට මුහුණ දෙන්න වෙනවා. එතකොට ඒක කවදාකවත් නුඹ වෙන්නේ ඒක ගන්න බෑ අපිට නිකන් සල්ලි වලින්. අපිට එතන ඉන්න මම හරි ලස්සන දෙයක් මට වුණා. ඔකේ මගේ පර්සනල් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එක කියන්නේ ඔයගලන්ට කිව්වා මගේ බිස්නස් එක ඔය 1 මිලියන් රේන්ජ් එකට ටච් කරා කියලා. ඔකදී ඉතින් ඔයගලෝ හිතාගෙන මම කැමති නැහැ මගේ ඉන්කම් එක කියන්නේ. මම සාමාන්‍ය ලංකාවේ CEO කෙනෙකුටවත් ගන්න බැරි මොකද මම මගේ ඉක්විටි එකේ මම 150ක් මගේ පාර්ට්නර්ට දුන්නා. 50ක් දීලා තමයි මම එයාව ගතුලට ගත්තේ. එතකොට අපි දෙන්න මට උදාහරණයක් කියන්න මම අවුරුදු 2ක් ඇතුළත මම තට්ටු 3ක ගයක් අරගෙන මර්සිඩීස් බෙන්ස් එකක් ගත්තා අවුරුදු 2ක විතර අවුරුදු 2ක කාලයේදී තට්ටු 3ක කාමර 4ක තියෙන ලොකු කමට මේක මම හිතා ගන්න මට්ටම ගයක් අරගෙන මේ මර්සිඩීස් බෙන්ස් එකක් ගත්තා අවුරුදු 2ක් ඇතුළත. ඒ ඉන්කම් එක තිබුණා මට. හරිද? එතකොට මොකද වුනේ දැන් මේ ඉන්කම් එක අපිට මොනවා කරත් දෙනවා. මම මහන්සි වුණත් එනවා නැතත් එනවා ඔය එනවා. හරි හැපි. හැබැයි මම ගිහිල්ලා ඇහුවා එක දවසක් දැන් මට වෙනවා දැන් බිස්නස් එක ග්‍රෝ වෙන්නෙත් නැහැ ග්‍රෝ කරන්න හිතෙන්නෙත් නැහැ මොකද මේක එනවනේ අපි මේ ලංකාවේ ඉන්නේ ඩොලර් වලින් earn කරන්නේ උද්ද ඉන්කම් එකක්. අපි දෙන්නම කිසිම අවුලක් නැහැ බිස්නස් එක හොඳට රන් වෙනවා. දවසක් මම ඔය දුබායි වල තියෙන ජයිටෙක්ස් කියලා මේ එක්සිබිෂන් එකක්. ඕකේ ගිහිල්ලා ඒක ඇතුලේ තියෙන ඔය ටෙක්ස්ට් මම ජයිටෙක්ස් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට යනවා. ගියාම ඒක ඇතුලේ තිබුණා මේ ගිය එක වෙලාවක තිබුණා මේ ටෙක් ස්ටාර්ට්අප් සම්බන්ධ පොඩි වර්ක්ෂොප් වගේක්. ඔතන හිටියා ඇවිල්ලා ලෝකයේ මේ හොඳම ඉන්න වෙන්චර් ෆර්ම්ස් වලින් එක්කෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා ප්‍රසන්ටේෂන් එකක් දුන්නා. ස්ටාර්ට්අප් 500 කියලා ඒකට වෙන්චර් ෆර්ම් එකට කියන්නේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ early stage investors වල ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරන්නේ. එයාගේ ටොක් එක. ඔයාට හොඳ තැනක් තමයි knowledge grab කරන්න ඔයාගේ talks වලට ගියට පස්සේ ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න ඊට පස්සේ. මෙයාගෙන් මට ප්‍රශ්න අහගන්න බැරුණා. එයා ඉවරේ කවුරු ගම මම ටක් ගාලා යා ඉවර කරපු ගම දුවලා ගිහිල්ලා මම ඇහුවා ප්‍රශ්නයක් මෙහෙම මම මෙහෙම බිස්නස් එකේ ස්ටක් වෙලා ඉන්නේ. මට මාව ග්‍රෝ වෙන්නෙත් නෑ. ඇයි මම එක තැන ඉන්නේ කියලා. එතකොට එයා කිව්වා ඔබ දැන් ලයිෆ් ස්ටයිල් entrepreneur කෙනෙක් වෙලා කිව්වා. ඒ එහෙම જાතියක් ඉන්න අපි දන්නේවත් නෑ. මම ඇත්තටම ඒ වචනේ හෙව්වේ දා. ඔබ දැන් ලයිෆ් ස්ටයිල් ඔබේ පාර්ට්නර් දෙන්නම ලයිෆ් ස්ටයිල් entrepreneur. උඹලගේ වැරද්ද තමයි උඹලා ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් නොගත් එක්ක. ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් ගත්තා නම් මොකද වෙන්නේ? අපිට ලයිෆ් ස්ටයිල් entrepreneurs වෙන්නත් බෑ. අපිට ඔය ගන්න අපිට ලොකු සැලරියක් ගන්නත් බෑ. මොකද අපි we are answerable to someone else. අපි වෙන කෙනෙක්ගෙන් සමහරට ගත්තා නම් සමහරට $100,000 වගේ තමයි මම ඇත්තටම ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් ගන්න ඉන්න කාලේ $100,000 මම හිතේ 20% ඉක්විටි එකට. ඇත්තටම මේ 100 ඊට වඩා ගොඩක් අපි සල්ලි හම්බ කරා ඊට පස්සේ. හැබැයි $100,000 ගත්තා නම් අපි අර 100,000 ට ආන්සරබල් හැම වෙලාවෙම. එතකොට අපිට ලොකු ගාණක් ගන්නත් බෑ. අපි එතකොට හැමදාම අර පිස්සුවෙන් වගේ හඩාගෙන යන මේක අපි යනවා. ඇත්තටම මම මේ ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් එක ගත්තා නම් ඒ ඉන්වෙස්ටර් මට කිව්වා එක ඒ කියන්නේ මම මේ ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් ගත්ත හිටපු කෙනාගේ වෙන දෙයක් හින්දා අපිට මගේ අරුණේ ඒක. මේකට අදාළ නැති හේතුවක් හින්දා එයා මට 2019 දී කිව්වා මේ දැන් මම යාගේ ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් ගත්තේ නැහැ කන්ටැක්ට් එක තාම තියෙනවා. එයා මට කිව්වා අර ලස්සන කතාව. දැන් උඹට කරන්න ඕනේ උඹ ඊට පස්සේ මේ දැන් මේ බිස්නස් එක උතන්ට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා දැන් යන්න කිව්වා රෙමිටන්සස් වලට. මම ඒක ගණන් ගත්තේ නැහැ. ඇත්තටම 2000 දැන් ඒක ගණන් ගත්තේ නැහැ. දැන් අපේ බිස්නස් එක සෑහෙන්න අහන වුණා අපිට පැනඩමික් එකේදී. ඇත්තටම රෙමිටන්සස් වලට ගිහිල්ලා තිබුණා නම් අද අපේ බිස්නස් එක මේ වෙනකොට මේ තියෙන මට්ටමින් 5 ගුණයක් විතර උඩට තියෙනවා. තේරෙනවද මිනිස්සු? අරයාගේ අර සිංගල් පුංචි ඇඩ්වයිස් එක අපිට ඒක සල්ලි වලින් ගන්න බෑ. අපි ඔය ඔතන හේතුව තියෙන්නේ නෑ අපි අර ඔක තමයි ශ්‍රී ලංකන් මෙන්ටැලිටි එක කියලා කියන්නේ මම. අපි හරි කැක්කමැති ඉක්විටි එක දෙන්න. මන් දන්නේ මම ජපුරත් ගොඩක් දෙනෙක් මට හම්බෙලා තියෙනවා. ඉක්විටි එක දෙනවා කිව්වහම ඒක ඇඟෙන් අටයක් ගන්නවා වගේ. මමත් ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ මයින්ඩ්සෙට් එක හිටපු කෙනෙක්. මගෙත් ඒක තිබුණා. ඒ දැන් අපි නැත්තම් මට තව පොඩ්ඩක් try කරන්න මට අගේට ගන්න. මොකද අපි අපේ growth rate එක දැක්කම ඕන කෙනෙක් අපිට ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරගන්න. හිතන්නකෝ මට ඇත්තටම හිටියේ LLC එකේ චාමන් ඉෂාරා නායක කර තමයි ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරන්න කැමති වෙලා හිටියේ මට. හරිද? ඉතින් ඒක ලංකාවේ ලොකුම සල්ලිකාරයෝ දෙන්න එක්කෙනෙක්නේ ධම්මික පෙරේරා සමහර වෙලාවට නම් වන්නිනවා අර ඉෂාරා නායක කරන වන්නිනවා සමහර වෙලාවට. ඔය දෙන්න එක්කෙනෙක්නේ. ඒක ගත්තනම් සමහර විට මම කියන්නේ ඒ ගත්තනම් අපි මෙතන නෙමෙයි ඉන්නේ අපි. අපි හැම වෙලාවෙම එයාට ආන්සර් කරන්න ඕනේ. එයාත් අපි එතකොට අපි යනවා ලොකු ලෙවල් එකකට. අන්න එතනටයි අපි ටාගට් කරන්නේ. එතකොට මගේත් අර මෙන්ටැලිටි එක තිබිච්ච හින්දා මම මට දැන් සල්ලි එන්න පටන් ගත්තා. ප්‍රොෆිට් මේක් කරන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් මම try කරේ ඉතියා. ප්‍රොෆිට් එනකොට ටක් ගාලා මම ඕනේ දැන් අපිට සල්ලි එනවා නේ කියලා හිටියා. ඒක තමයි කරපු biggest ඇත්තටම මම මුලින් කිව්වට small mistake එක තමයි biggest mistake of my entire entrepreneurial journey එකේ කරපු. biggest අනිත් ඒවා ඔක්කොම ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ මට ඒක ආපහු ගන්න බෑ. තේරුණාද? ඒක දැන් ආපහු ගන්න මොකද මගේ බිස්නස් එකේ හොද්දම පීක් එක දැන් ඉවරයි. almost stagnate වෙන්නේ. එතකොට tech startup වල especially ආයු කාලේ හරි අඩුයි. අපිට ලොකු කාල නෑ මේ අවුරුදු 10 15 එක දිගට හම්බ කර ඉන්න බෑ. අවුරුදු 5න් 6න් අපි ගහන ගේම් එකක් ගහලා ඉවර කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඒක තමයි කරපු ලොකුම මිස්ටේක් එක. මගේ ලයිෆ් එකේම කරපු මිස්ටේක් එකක් ඒක. ඉතින් මම ඕගොල්ලන්ට කියන්නේ ඔය thinking pattern එකෙන් අයින් වෙන්න ඕනේ අපි. හරිද? අපි හදාගත්ත නම් business එක බය නැතුව ගිහිල්ලා දෙන්න ඉක්විටි එක හැබැයි හරි කෙනා හොයාගන්න. ඒකට වාට මහන්සි වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට වාට ඕවර්නයිට් කරන්න බෑ. වා ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් කමියුනිටි එක ඇතුළේ රින්ගන්න ඕනේ. ඒ එක එකනා කොහොමද බිහේව් වෙන හැටි කියලා බලා ගන්න ඕනේ. කවුයි එක්කනාද වාට ගැලපෙන ඉන්වෙස්ට් කියලා දැනගන්න ඕනේ. වැඩ ගොඩක් තියෙනවා කරන්න. ඒ කමියුනිටි ඇතුළේ රින්ග ගන්න ලේසි නැහැ. මොකද ඔයා එක පාට ගිහිල්ලා අනොන්නාදින මිනිස්සුන්ට සමහරව සල්ලි දෙන්න කැමති නැහැ. කාලයක් තිස්සේ ආ දැනගෙන ඉන්න ඕනවා ගැන. ඒක හදා ගන්න ඕනේ. ඉතින් දැන් පටන් ගන්න මම දැක්කා ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ අර කීප දෙනෙක් මට LinkedIn එකේ දාලා තිබුණ රික්වෙස්ට් ෆොටෝ එකක්වත් නැහැ. දැන් මම කොහොමද දන්නේ කාගේකද කියලා? මම ඇත්තටම එදා එක්කෙනෙක් කාගේ ඇක්සෙප්ට් කරා මම ඊගාගෙන ඇක්සෙප්ට් කරේ. මම හිතන්නේ සමෝදකේද කොහෙද? මම ඇක්සෙප්ට් කරේ නැහැ. මොකද ෆොටෝ එකක් නැති කෙනෙක් මම ඇක්සෙප්ට් කරේ නැහැ LinkedIn. මම සාමාන්‍ය LinkedIn එකේ මගේ මට්ටමෙන් පල්ලෙහා කාගේවත් ඇක්සෙප්ට් කරන්නේ නැහැ. මම සීරියස්ලි කියන LinkedIn එකේ මම බිහේව් වෙන ක්‍රමේ මම ඇක්සෙප්ට් කර මම රික්වෙස්ට් දාන්නේ මට උඩ කට්ටියට විතරයි. මගේ මට්ටමෙන් පල්ලෙහා කට්ටිය ඇක්සෙප්ට් කරන්නේ ජපුරි ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලා විතරයි. ඒ අරගෙන වෙන කිසිම කෙනෙක් ඇක්සෙප්ට් කරන්නේ නැහැ මම. මොකද ජපුරි ස්ටුඩන්ට්ට මම ඇක්සෙප්ට් කරන්නේ ඒතර මං හරහා ඒගොල්ලෝ තව කනෙක්ෂන් ටිකක් හදාගෙන ඉන්නේ. මම හැම වෙලේම try කරන්නේ පුළුවන් තරම් CEO level එක ඒ මට්ටමේ director level එක head of company එක මොනවා හරි ඒ level එක මගේ LinkedIn එකේ මම ගොඩාක් venture capital firms වල කට්ටිය ඇඩ් කරන් ඉන්නවා. අඩුතරමේ LinkedIn එක හරි ගිහිල්ලා චුට්ට හරි ගිහිල්ලා ඇඩ් කරගන්න අර කට්ටිය. ඉඳලා හිටලා ආටිකල් එකක් දෙයක් දාන්න මොනවා හරි. උදේ දෙයක් ගැන කතා කරන දෙයක් දාලා ඔයා එතන ඉන්නවා කියලා පෙන්නලා තියාගන්න. සෝෂල් මීඩියා වලින් කරගන්න. එතකොට එයා දන්නවා මෙන්න මේක තමයි දැන් මෙයා ගාව වෙන්නේ. ඔයා පුලි අප්ඩේට් එක දී යන්නේ. එතකොට එක තැනක් වෙයි රයිට් ඕකේ. එයා දන්නවා මෙන්න මෙයා තමයි මිනිස්සෙක් කියලා මෙයාට ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරන්න හරි කියලා සමහරවිට එයා වාගාවට එන ලවක් එනවා. එහෙම වෙච්ච ඕන තරම් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒකින්ද මතක තියාගන්න අරක ඕක ඔය මොන්ටැලිටි එකකින් අපි අයින් වෙන්න. වා හිතන එක වැරදි කියලා මම කියන්නේ. හැබැයි ඕකේ ඉඳලා අපිට යන්න බෑ. මොකද සමහර විට දැන් ඔයා ගන්නකෝ Facebook එකේ ගමුකෝ අපි Apple එකේ ගමුකෝ මාර්ක් සකර්බර්ග්ට නැහැ 100% of Facebook. එතන තියෙන question එකකින් අය. ඔයාට තියෙන්නේ 100 million of දවහට 10 million වල එක 100% තියෙන එකද වටින්නේ? හරිද? 10 billion එක 20% තියෙන එකද වටින්නේ? 10 million එක 10 million business එක 100% තියෙනට වැඩිය 50 billion විතර වගේ වෙන එක 10ක් 20ක් තියෙන එක වටිනවනේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ කරලා තියෙන එක තමයි. ඒගොල්ලෝ ගාව ලොකු පොඩි එකක 100% නෙමෙයි තියෙන්නේ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගාව තියෙන ලොකු එකක 10% දැන් ඔය මම හිතන්නේ මාක්ස් එක බග්ට ගොන්නම් හොයලා බලන්න මම හරියට දන්නේ නැහැ. 115 20 තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ඒගොල්ලෝ ඉක්විටි කරලා තියෙන මේ වෙනකොට. ඊවන් Apple එකේ ඒගොල්ලෝ කොච්චර දුන්නද? ඔය ඉන්න හොඳම entrepreneurs ටික ලෝකේ ගන්න ඒ හැමෝම ගාවම 100% ඉක්විටි එක නෑ. ඉක්විටි එක තියාගෙන කරන්න බෑ එක කියනවා. මොකද කැපිටල් එක දෙන්න කැපිටල් රීච් කරන්න කැපිටල් රේස් කරන්න නම් අනිවාර්යෙන් දෙන්න වෙනවා එළියට. ඒ දෙන්න එයාගේ ඉක්විටි කඩු වෙනවා. හැබැයි ඒ දෙන්න හැම පාරකම උඩට යනවා කම්පැනි වැලුවේෂන් එක වැඩි කියලා ලොකු ලෙවල් එකකට එනවා. ඉතින් ඒක තමයි වෙන්න දෙන්නේ. මම හිතන්නේ මම ඔයාගේ ක්වෙස්චන් එක ආන්සර් කරා. තව මොනවද ඊට ප්‍රශ්න? අහන්න ඔයාගේ ප්‍රශ්න අහනකොට තමයි කතා නොකරපු දේවල් මතක් වෙන්නේ.
මට තියෙන පොඩි ප්‍රශ්නයක්. සර් දැන් අපි ලංකාවේ කට්ටිය විදියට ඉන්නේ අතරම ක්‍රයිසිස් එකෙන් සර් මේ වගේ වෙලාවක අපිට තියෙන ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්න තමයි කැපිටල් එක හොයා ගන්නවා කියන එක. සමහර වෙලාවට අපිට හොඳ concept එකක් තිබ්බත් අපි අපසට හැරෙන්න බලනවා අපි කොහොමද මේක කරන්නේ මේක possibleද කියලා බලලා investors හොයාගත්තත් අපිට සමහර වෙලාවට දැන් මගේ concept එක ගත්තොත් සර් මට හැමතිස්සෙම හිතෙනවා මේක කරන්න බැරි වැඩක් වෙයි එහෙම කියලා. සර් ඒකට මොකද්ද තියෙන solution එක?
දැන් ජනනි මෙන්න මෙහෙම දෙයක් තියෙනවා. අපිට දැන් මේ වගේ ක්‍රයිසිස් එකක් තියෙන වෙලාවක ජනනි හරි ලස්සන දෙයක් වෙනවා. හරිද? අපිට කිසිම දෙයක් ප්‍රෙඩික්ට් කරන්න බෑ. හරිද? ඒක හොඳම දේ තමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ අහලා ඇති ඔය USA වල greatest recession කියලා තියෙන්නේ. ඔය දැන් මේ recession දැන් මේ දැන් USA වල almost recession එකකට යන්නේ. මම හිතන්නේ 2008 ද කොහෙද ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ great recession පොඩක් ගහන්න great recession in USA කියලා ගහන්න වෙබ් එකේ ලොකු recession එකක් තිබුණා ඒගොල්ලන්ට. ඒ recession එක කාලේ luxury products වලට තිබිච්ච demand එක අසීමිත විදිහට වැඩි වෙලා. ඒ කියන්නේ ගොඩක් ගණන් ඇඳුම් luxury watches ඔය hand bags Prada වගේ දේවල් ඒ වගේ hand bags ඔය GC වගේ ඒ වගේ high value brand තියෙන්නේ. ඒවට තියෙච්ච demand එක අසීමිත විදිහට උඩ ගිහින්. දැන් ඕක explain කරන්න බැහැනේ අපිට කවදාවත් නේ. අපි දන්න theories වලින් explain කරනවා. මිනිස්සුගේ අපි කියන්නේ අර මොකද්ද අර disposable income එක අඩු වෙනකොට අර luxury වලට යන්නේ නැහැ කියන අපි කියන්නේ. මොකද basic need වලට ගියාට පස්සේ ඒක disposable income එක අඩුයි. හැබැයි ඇත්තටම වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? මිනිස්සු financially struggle කරන හින්දා ඒගොල්ලන්ට I mean they wanted to feel good some way. දැන් එයාගේ financial upset ඔක්කොම අවුල් ඒගොල්ලන්ට නැති සල්ලියක් වෙන්නලා they wanted to feel good. එතකොට මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ කරේ? ඒගොල්ලෝ ණය වෙලා ගත්ත luxury goods. හරිද? ණය වෙලා luxury goods වලට ගත්තා. ඇත්තටම ලොකුම demand එක luxury goods වලට ඒ වගේ වට තිබිලා තියෙන්නේ recession එක කාලේ. දැන් ඕක මම ඔක ගැන කීයක හිටියද මම වගේ වයිෆ්ටත් ඔක කිව්වා ගෙදරදී. එහෙම දෙයක් වුණා කියලා. ඊට මොකක් හරියක් කියනකොට මම කිව්වා. ඕක මම එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් කරානේ මේ ඊයේ පෙරේදා. මගේ දුවලා මේ යාගේ ඉස්කෝලේ බෑන්ඩ් එකේ බෑන්ඩ් ෂෝ එකක් කරනවා අවුරුදු 2කට සැරයක් මොකද කරන්නේ ඒක. මේ පරණ ඔලිම්පිකුට තියෙනවා. හැමදාම ටිකට් එක විකුණන මේගොල්ලෝ මාසයක් එකමාරක් මහන්සි වෙනවා. මාසයක් විතර මහන්සි වෙලා තමයි ටිකට් එක විකුණන්නේ. මේ පාර හිතන්න බෑ ටිකට් ටික දාලා දවස් 3ක් ඇතුළත ඔක්කොම ටිකට් දවස් 3කුත් ගියේ නැහැ හිතෙන් දෙකමාරක් යනකොට ඔක්කොම ටිකට් ටික විකුණලා ඉවරනේ. ටිකට් එක පටන් ගන්න රුපියල් 1000යි. වෙනද ගිය පාර පටන් ගන්නේ 800 මේ පාර 1000න් පටන් ගන්නේ 1000 ඉඳන් 3000ට වෙනදට 2000 ක වැඩි තිබුණා තියෙන්නේ. ටිකට්ස් ටික ඔක්කොම ඉමීඩියට්ලි වෙනදට මේ ළමයි පුදුම දුකක් විඳගෙන ටිකට් අපි සමහරවිට වැඩිපුර ටිකට් උත් ගන්නවා විකුණ ගන්න බැරි. හිත ළමයින්ට උදව් කරන වැඩිපුර ටිකට් එකක් තිබ්බ ඕන කරන. මේ පාර දැන් අපි වැඩිපුර ගත්ත ටිකට් උත් දෙන්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ එච්චර ඩිමාන්ඩ් එක. අපිට ඕක තමයි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මේ රෙසෙෂන් එක. ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් ට්‍රබල් එකක් තියෙනවා අපිට හිතන්න බෑ මොකක්ද ඒක වෙන්නේ. මම ළඟදී මේ යාළුවෙක්ගේ මේ යාවෙල් එකකට ගියා 5 star hotel එක. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඒ පබ් වලට මම යන්නේ. නමුත් ඒ යාළුවා ගියේ හින්දා අපි කට්ටිය ගියාම ඒකට පබ් එකේ යන්න බෑ. ඇඟිලි අපි එතන ගියා පබ් එකෙන් ආවා එළියට ඉන්න බෑ මොකද එච්චර සෙනග. හැම ටේබල් එකක්ම ෆුල්. අපිට දැන් මට පුදුමයි මේක එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරන්න කොහොමද? දැන් මේක එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරන්න බෑ. ඇත්තට මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? දැන් මෙච්චර ෆුයල් දැන් ලබන මාසේ තියෙන ෂෝ එක මෙච්චර ෆුයල් ෂෝටේජ් එකදී ඇයි මිනිස්සුන්ට වෙන එන්ටර්ටේන්මන්ට් එකක් නැහැ මේ වෙලාවේ. වෙන්දර ට්‍රිප් ගිය මිනිස්සුන්ට දැන් යන්න බෑ ෆුයල් නැති හින්දා. හැබැයි නෙළුම් පොකුණ තියෙන ෂෝ එකට යන්න පුළුවන් නේ. ඒකට දැන් ගොඩක් වෙලාට කොළඹ ඉන්න මේ අවඩ ඉන්න සෙට් එක ඉන්න ඉස්කෝලේ වල එන්න. එතකොට මේගොල්ලන්ට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ මේක යන්න. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ ටිකට් එක ටක් ගාලා ගත්තා. 5 star එකට වැඩි උනේ. ඇයි වෙන්දට කණ්ඩලමේ ගිය කෙනාට වෙන්දට සීගිරිය ගිය කෙනාට වෙන්දට නුවර ගිය කෙනාට වෙන්දට නුවරඑළිය ගිය කෙනාට යන්න බෑ. ෆුයල් ප්‍රශ්නේ. එතකොට නමුත් මිනිස්සුන්ට සල්ලි නැහැ කිය ඉන්න බෑ. එනවා මේකද? අපිට මේ behaviors predict කරන්න බෑ. එතකොට අපි කරන්න ඕන දෙයක් තමයි මේ ජනනි මෙතනදී ඔයා මෙන්න මේ පොත කියවන්න. හරිද? lean startup කියලා පොතක් තියෙනවා එරික් රයිස්ගේ. හරිද? ඒ පොතේ තියෙනවා concept ගොඩක් ඔයාලට ග්‍රැබ් කියන ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තාම අහුවෙලා නැහැ MVP කියන එක එහෙම concept එකම අහුවෙලා නැහැ නේද? minimum viable product එකක් කියන එක එහෙම. sorry. අහුවෙලා නැහැ නේද? දැන් එතකොට දැන් මේකයි මම අර කිව්වේ දැන් අර මේ ස්ටාර්ට්අප් මේ වගේ ඉගෙන ගන්න කියලා. එතකොට ඔයගලන්ට මේ වචන හොවේ. ඇත්තටම ඔය MEP කියන වචනේ මට හම්බුනේ ලෙන්විනේ growth hacking කියන එක. growth hacking කියන එක මට වචන විතරයි සිංගප්පූර් මේ conference එකේදී ස්ටාර්ට්අප් conference එක හම්බුනේ. මොකද මම ඒ ගියාම ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ rooms 3-4ක් තියෙනවා. කියන්නේ එක hall තියෙනවා. hall වල එක session යනවා. මම එක session එකක් ඉවර කරලා ඊගාව එකට දුවනකොට ඒක ඉවර වෙලා අන්තිම විනාඩි 2 දුන්නේ. ඉතින් මම කතා කරලා ඉතින් growth hacking මම ටක් ගාලා වචන ලියගෙනවා. ගෙදර ඇවිල්ලා ඉතින් මම growth hacking ගැන සම්පූර්ණයෙන් ඉගෙන ගත්තා. මේ මම ගාව තාමත් පොත තියෙනවා. දැන් මෙන්න මේ concept මේ තියෙන්නේ. මෙව්වේ තියෙනවා අලුත්ම concept. හරිද? එතකොට ඔයාට ඔය වගේ දැන් ඔයා කතා කරන්නේ හොඳට මතක ගන්න ඔයා ඔය කතා කරන්නේ startup business එකක් ගැන. එතකොට ඔයා ඒක run කරන්න මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වා ඔයාට startup methodology ගේන්නම වෙනවම තමයි. ඔයාට traditional එකේ කරන්න ගියොත් ඔයාගේ fail වෙන්න තියෙන chance එක ගොඩාක් වැඩි. ඒකෙන්ද හරි පරිස්සම් වෙන්න. එතකොට ඔයා ඉස්සෙල්ලා කරන්න ලීන් ස්ටාර්ට්අප් කියන පොත හොයාගන්න. ඒ පොත ගන්න තියෙනවා ජම්ප් බුක් කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා සයිට් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකේ ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයාට ඒක එෆෝඩ් කරන්න බැරි නම් මං හිතන්නේ මං ගාව තිබුණද කොහෙද මේක මං හිතන්නේ තිබුණද කොහෙද ඊබුක් එක. මට ඕනනම් ඔයා මේකින් පස්සේ මගේ ඊමේල් එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගාව තියෙනවනේ. මට එවන්න ඊමේල් එකක් මං ඒක ඔයාට එවන්නම් කියනවනම් හොයලා එවන්නම්. නැත්නම් වෙබ් එකේ පොඩ්ඩක් සර්ච් කරන්න ඔයාට ඊබුක් එක ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඊබුක් කරලා print out එක කරන් කියවන්න. මං ගාව තියෙන ඊබුක් එකෙන් ගත්ත print out එක තමයි මට ඒ කාලේ මට ලීන් ස්ටාර්ට්අප් පොත ලංකාවේ හොයාගන්න බැරි වුණා. හරිද? ඒ පොත සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම කියවන අඩුතරම දෙතුන් පාරක් හරි කියන ඒකේ තියෙනවා MEP කියන concept එක. ඒතකොට කොහොමද MEP එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ අපි අපේ රියල් බිස්නස් එකේ තියෙන concept එක දාපු පොඩි product එකක් අපි කරනවා. අපි දැන් එකපාරට උදාහරණ ඔයා සෙන්ටර් එකක් කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයා පුළුවන් නම් ගෙදර ඉඳන් හරි ඔක් කරන්න පටන් ගන්න. එතන ඉඳන් පටන් ගන්න ඔයා මේක ඒකේ ක්‍රම තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ ක්‍රමවේද යූස් කරලා කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ඒවට කරන්න ඕන වෙලාවක කතා කරන්න. ඔයගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ ස්ටාර්ට්අප් බිස්නස් එකක් කරනවා නම් කිසිම ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. මම ජපුරේ ආපු ගොඩක් දෙනකොට ඒ කියන්නේ මේ ඊපෙරදා මගේ ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් බිස්නස් එකක් වික්ක සම්පත් බැංකුවට බොහොම සන්තෝෂයි. මට මතකයි 30 මිලියන් රුපීස් වලට වික්ක ඩොලර්ස් නෙමෙයි රුපීස් වලට 35 මිලියන් හරි වික්ක. මුලින් ඉඳන් මෙයා ස්ටාර්ට්අප් එකේ මුලින් ඉඳන් මගෙත් එක්ක කතා කර සර් කොහොමද මේක කරන්නේ කොහොමද කීක කතා කරගෙන හරිම සන්තෝෂයි. අපි මාස්ටර් බැච් එකේ කෙනෙක්. මොකද අපි මේ වගේ සෙෂන් එකකට ගන්න ආසය එකයි. දැන් මේ ගිහම මෙතන තියෙන අපි ගන්න ඒ කියන්නේ දේ ඒක තමයි. මොකද ඒ ගිහිල්ලා දැන් අරයයි බිස්නස් එක විකුණලා මට කෝල් එකලා රයිට් සර් අංග දුන්නා සම්පත් බැංකුවට වික්ක එකට හරි සන්තෝෂයි. ඒ සන්තෝෂය තමයි අපිට වටින්නේ. ඉතින් දැන් ඕගොල්ලෝ මම දැක්ක මෙතන ඕගොල්ලෝ කීප දෙනෙක් ගාව ඒ පොටෙන්ෂල් එක මම දැක්කා. අර ට්‍රැඩිෂනල් බිස්නස් මම කියන්නේ නැහැ ට්‍රැඩිෂනල් බිස්නස් කරන්න එපා කියලා කරන්න. හැබැයි මම ට්‍රැඩිෂනල් බිස්නස් වලට ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස් කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඇඩ්වයිස් කරන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද ඒවට ගන්න ඕන තරම් කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා හින්දා ඔය ස්ටාර්ට්අප් බිස්නස් කරන කීප දෙනා මට ඕන වෙලාවක කතා කරන්න මම ඒවට charge කරන්නේ මුකුත් නෑ. එහෙම charge කරලා කරන්න ඉව නෙමෙයි. මොකද අපි ජපුරෙන් ගොඩක් දේවල් ඉගෙන ගත්තා. අපි අනිත් පැත්තට රට දෙයක් දෙන්න ඕනේ. මම හරි කැමති උදව් කරන්න. මට පුළුවන් knowledge එක දෙන්නම් ඔය ස්ටාර්ට්අප් කරන බිස්නස් කරන කට්ටියට. ඒක අර අනවශ්‍ය ප්‍රශ්න අහන්නත් එපා. මොකද දෙතුන් දෙනෙක් මම එහෙම හල්ලක් දැම්මා මේ. සර් මේ e-commerce site එකක් පටන් ගන්න ඕනේ ඒකට payment එක add කරගන්නේ කොහොමද? PayPal එක ඇත්තට ඒ වගේ ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න එන්නත් එපා මගේ. හැබැයි ඔයා දැන් ওই වගේ අහපු කියන්නේ අර අහන ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවන්නේ. ඒ විදිහේ ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න. එතකොට උත්තර දෙන්නම්. ටයිම් එක ෆ්‍රීලි දෙනවා. ඒක ෆ්‍රීලි දෙන්නේ මොකක්ද අපිට මේ රටට ඕන ස්ටාර්ට්. මොකද මම දන්න දේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ මොකද මම කිව්ව ගොඩාක් මිස්ටේක් කරලා තිනවා. එතකොට මම කරපු මිස්ටේක් ටික ඕගොල්ලෝ කරන්න ඕනේ නෑ ආයි පාරක්. අපරාධයක කරනවනේ. එතකොට මම ඒකයි මම අර පුළුවන් තරම් කී ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් වලට යන්න කියලා. ඒ මිස්ටේක් එක ඕගොල්ලෝ කරන්න එපා. ඕගොල්ලෝ ගන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් එකක් ගන්න හරි ඉන්වෙස්ටර් කෙනෙක් හොයාගෙන එයාගෙන් ගන්න. එයාත් එක්ක කියන්නේ බැරි වෙලා හරි අප්සෙට් එකක් ගියොත් තව වංගුවක් මොකක් හරි ගාලා එයාව අයින් කරලා හරි දාමු. හරියට ටර්ම් ෂීට් එක හදාගන්න. අප්සෙට් වෙනවා කියලා දෙනවා නම් අයින් කරන ක්‍රමයකට හදාගන්න. එයාගෙන් වැඩේ වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් ඔයාගේ සල්ලි ටික දීලා තව කෙනෙක් වෙන හරි කමන්නේ වැඩේ කරන්න හදාගන්න. ඒක කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකින්ද ඒ ටිකට කරන්න ඔයාට බැරි නැහැ. මොකද මේ වගේ වෙලාවක අපිට කියන්න බෑ කොහොම බිහේව් වෙයිද කියලා. අනිත් එක මතක තියාගන්න මොන රෙසිෂන් එක තිබුණත් කොහොම තිබ්බත් දැන් මේ වෙනකොට කියනවා වෙන්චර් ෆර්ම්ස් වල අඩුවක් වෙන්චර් කැපිටල් වල අඩුවක් තියෙනවා කියලා. හැබැයි තාමත් growth එකක තියෙන්නේ. world wide ම තාමත් වෙන්චර් ෆර්ම්ස් වෙන්චර් කැපිටල් යන ප්‍රමාණය වැඩියක් තියෙනවා. අඩු වෙලා නැහැ. තාමත් يعني ගිය අවුරුද්දට වැඩිය මේ අවුරුද්ද වැඩි කියන එක තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ. මේ අපි හිතාගන්න එපා අපි විසින් අපි අතට දාගන්න එපා. ඔයාට පුළුවන් අනිවාර්යෙන් කරන්න. ඔයගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ ඔය මොනවා කරත් සල්ලි තියෙන මිනිස්සු ගාව සල්ලි තියෙනවා. ඒක හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න. ඒක නැති වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඔය ඔක්කොම ප්‍රශ්න ටික තියෙන්නේ lower society එකේ තියෙන lower middle lower income group එකයි middle society එකේ අපි කියන මැද පන්තිය කියලා මැද පන්තියට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න තියෙන්නේ. ඔතනින් උඩට ගිය කට්ටිය කාට ප්‍රශ්න නැහැ. ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් වලට ගණන් තියාගන්න රෙසෙෂන් ඒ කියන්නේ මේ වගේ ඉකොනොමික් ක්‍රයිසිස් එකක් තියෙන වෙලාවක ඔයා කරගත්තොත් ඔයා හදාන්නේ කෙලින්ම අර වටන්න බැරි බිස්නස් එකක් ඔය හදන්නේ. එතකොට ඒක අරගෙන ඔයාට අර අලුත් concept ගෙන්න දැන් ඔය ෆ්‍රැන්චයිස් මොඩල් එකකට වගේ යන්න පුළුවන් නම් බලන්න. දැන් ඔයා පළවෙනි එක